bottom of the clip, but the gunshine stay high. One of them boys still boating in that way. Big plate, get it for the 18 if you straight. Get cake and stop hating, it's the motto of the state. A lot of fakes, but it's still real around here. That foreign talk, that can get you killed down here. Niggas better learn the lingo, cause they'll be looking for you in that water finding Nemo. See, Palm Beach County be the craziest. Them Broward County niggas be the craziest. And them Dade County niggas be the wildest. Shout out to Bell Glaze and my niggas at Fort Myers. Salute to all my Florida boys out here on the grind. When niggas out here getting dough with that snow and the sunshine. Ducking nine, waiting at the port to bring in that order. Cause niggas like depend on what come across that water. Welcome to South. I was born in the South, raised in the South. A Dade County nigga that was made in the South.
Whoa, I didn't expect that to be like that. Shout out to everybody. If y'all can hear me, man, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Morning, y'all. Morning, Kings fans. Yeah, a little bit of a late start. Everybody's having brunch. Shout out to y'all for being in here, man. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, so we got some updates. Rich is in the back, but I don't know what he's doing. X running late. Street on the flight. KB, I'm pretty sure still asleep. So y'all gonna have to hear my thoughts for a little bit, but it's all good, man. We're gonna sit here and talk, interact, you know what I'm saying, with the chat, because that's what we do. So for those who aren't aware, yesterday the Miami Hurricanes played their regular season finale against one Boston College up in Chestnut Hill. Won the game 45-20. Many are saying it's probably the most complete game we played all season. I think it's probably the most frustrating part about about this season. At this point, I'm starting to feel like maybe people are trolling because it was killing me. But nonetheless, let's get into it. Before we get started, as always, make sure y'all hit that like button for us, please. It helps us out. Shout out to everybody that already has. Hit that subscribe button. We almost at 1,800. We was making some steady progressions and we kind of stopped. I don't know what happened, but still, you want to make an interesting comment. I would be remiss if I said I don't share the same thoughts. And I'll give you my logic why. I think I did on the last show we had, or 2 shows ago. I don't remember how long ago that was, but it's a very fair point. I saw some tweets this morning. People were talking about how Dan Lanning in 2 years has gone 10-3 last season and 10-1 this year, or 11-1. He won last night as well against Oregon State in the Civil War. And I think the interesting part is Mario has always made it very clear that he's not back. He's like, they're back to work. That was his whole theme in year 1. Year 2, they're still building. And I think those things are interesting points to identify, because I don't think that this is something that is supposed to be a quick fix. In any other situation, we had a quick fix. Then the season was sitting there saying, oh, this team was a fraud. They weren't built like that, blah, 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 blah. And so what I think you see with someone like Dan Lanning is a very high, one or two things. One, he's either building that team to take another job in another conference, because as I said in the show when I identified how Mario built Oregon back up, somebody in the comments has stated that Mario got handed something that he had to, I don't remember if it was GroupMe in the comments, but he got handed something and then he had to essentially just maintain it. That doesn't make sense. But then when it comes to Dan Lanning, suddenly that's not the same standard. Like, Mario was winning 10 games before he left Oregon and winning the conference. The Atlantic's now going to get to the conference championship for the first time, and there's no guarantee he's going to beat Michael Penix again or the second time um, in that championship. So I think it's a fair point to kind of point out that yeah, it's one of those things that I said this last time. You want it fast or you want it done right. The Atlantic is a perfect example of doing it fast because he's maintaining something that he didn't build. And year three, he's going to have to really show, like, hey, um, what what is this program looking like once it's year three? I got my players. Bo Nix is probably leaving. Some of your top receivers are probably leaving. Three of the five starting linemen are Mario recruits, offensive linemen, that is. Two were transfers, I believe. And now you gotta, kind of put something into perspective. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not Oregon watching. Those people have no tradition, like I said. They never won anything of actual relevance. So it is what it is. I just think it's interesting just because that was where Mario was at, and Mario kind of built it from scratch. And we're watching the same thing here, man. 5-7, year one, 7-5. So um, I'm interested to hear y'all perspectives. But first, we're gonna start live from the back. He ain't have to go to church today, so yeah. Live from the back, you know what I'm saying? Rich was good, man.
Yo, yo, good morning, good morning. Apologize, Kane fans and villains for my tardiness once again. You know how I do it. Always like to bring an apple for the teacher, you know. Uh, man, look, uh, yeah, it's I guess so the fan base is comparing what Landing is doing and what Miami's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, um, there's pros and cons to it. I would say the aspect that I agree with the fans with is, of course, our team is capable of winning more games, or was capable of winning more games last season. Could we have gone 9-3? Yeah. Looking at some of those games, like the Georgia Techs of the world, um, even Louisville losing by 7, Florida State losing by 7. Yeah, we left a lot of game time, a lot of plays on the field, and those are things we got to work on. Those are things we really got to assess, and it's not just kids jumping in the transfer portal, or us acquiring transfer portal kids. It's also about how we develop kids, how do we get them prepared to go into a game, and how are we coaching, how are we managing our down and distances, and coaching the kids as well, because that's what it's going to boil down to. You, in some cases, when you have close games like a Florida State and your talent is even, what's going to pull you out is the way that one gutsy call that you make on 4th and 1. Knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them, as they say when you play poker. So yeah,
No,
yeah.
I,
I
um,
mean,
I definitely agree. I think there was a lot left on the table. Once again, I think when you look at yesterday's game, it's it. I told some other people that I know that are pretty linked in the program, and I was like, "Hey, y'all got to tell me, man, is Mario trolling his fan base? Is Mario
right. It
trolling
makes
his
you
program?"
frustrated.
Yeah, because I'm looking at a team that I said it, Kyle said it. We're looking at plays that we didn't see since week one, or not week one, week two, the A&M game. The orbit play that I consistently have referred back to, the Kobe Young play. Like those plays were literally the same plays from the Texas A&M game. Tyler missed Kobe
You're
on that
right.
one because he threw it to the back of the end zone, but the orbit play, it's the same play. He didn't run it as smooth last time, and that overplayed it to Jacoby. I think they had Cam kind of like chip out and block to seal that defender so that he can get it, and then he tipped over. It's the same exact play. Nothing changed
Same
about
one.
the play. And
How
and
about that? How about that slant too? That slant to Kobe Young.
hmm
I was like, where was that all season? Like,
yeah,
have we seen that at all this season?
I saw it last week at Louisville. He just missed him. He threw it to X. X was a slot receiver, and X ran a what's called, and Kobe ran that slant. I said it on the show. Kobe ran that slant, and they were in zone coverage, and the defender didn't go, and the storm duck stayed. He stayed in the flat, and I watched him run right across the field. And we're me, Street, and
Wide
Twan are in
open.
the end zone, like yeah, this dude is wide open. If he catches that pass, there's not a defender within 15 yards of him. He just run up the sideline. So it's been there. It's just Tyler's been missing it. You know what I'm saying? So um, I don't, like I said, I'm of the belief, and I really stand. I stand 10 toes down on this. Mario is not. He's not gonna rush this process. This man's been sitting back for pretty much since what he left Al Golden, and I would be remiss if I said when he was working with Al Golden, he probably saw something because I don't think he even made it to the regular season. When he was tight end coach under Al Golden, he got what, two elite tight ends. I think he got Standish Dobard here and another guy.
Yeah,
And Standish Dobard at the time was the number one tight end in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he ends up getting them, and I don't think he
he
makes it to
was.
spring practice. He he,
He
he
was good
leaves
too.
for yeah, he leaves for Rutgers, which is a worse job. And it wasn't a coordinator. He left for a position coach under I think that was old boy the first time he went back. I can't remember his name. He's the head coach there now.
Um,
Anywho,
yeah,
the comments got me. Anywho, he ends up leaving. We waste two elite tight ends he recruited, and then he ends up going to oh yeah, Greg Schiano. Shout out to KO Monet.
yep. Shiano,
Um,
yep.
Greg Schiano. He ends up going there, and then he ends up going to Alabama. At the end of the day, it's like he sat back and watched us repeatedly, other than Rick, in my opinion, repeatedly. And Rick was the only proven coach, if you think about it, in the last 2 decades of hires. He's the only proven coach, and that's why when Rick came, that's why I kind of stopped with the whole up and coming coordinator thing. I'm not here for it. Some of them they just end up getting the right situation, like a Dan Lanning, like a
Right.
Ryan Day, like but they usually get handed a full cupboard, like a full
Exactly.
pantry of talent, and they just got to maintain that, right? Whereas Miami, we've consistently fumbled that for over 2 decades, and so when I'm watching how Mario, like I said, I can't sit here and act like he's not taking into consideration. Yeah, I'm gonna do this my way. It's not gonna be a quick process. It's not gonna be an easy process. It's gonna be something that I'm gonna take my time in doing because what is the alternative at this point? What is the alternative? The alternative is to do it fast, and then in 2 years, when all that talent leaves, we sitting here saying like, man, what happened? No, that's why I think the
Now,
landing comparison is so interesting. But
now let me ask this though, because one of the things we both saw during that BC game is we saw a lot of plays that we didn't see since game four. We also saw tight end catching the football. I think we saw a running back catch the football, if I'm not mistaken. Um, we saw a lot of different like new stuff with a outgoing quarterback, and I'm kind of like, why? Like, why tease us like that and have us win by 25 points and basically have the game in check from after that first Boston College series when they walked down the field 75 yards. And I
mhm,
say literally walk down the field because their quarterback, I think, only threw like one pass or two passes during that drive.
mhm,
Um, he used his legs for the rest. But after that particular series, like we just handled the whole game from beginning to end. We threw things at BC that we haven't shown. We had the mesh concepts, which one, and it is what it is at this point. But um, what one mesh concept that specifically stood out to me was Restrepo running across the middle and TVD basically staring him down. It was a completion, but you can count it. You're like, okay, that was like 5 seconds before you threw it. It's like, come on now. Um, but nonetheless, we're running these things that we haven't seen in a while, or we just haven't. I mean, Cam McCormick had like I got to pull up the stats here, but he had maybe two or three
Catches?
catches.
You had 2 catches for 11
And
yards
right, and I'm
with a
like,
long of 8 yards.
I'm like they trusted him to go get a first down.
They had
So
before
it
early
was
in the season, and he did it.
okay.
He had a
Maybe once
big first down. He had a big first down against A&M. But yeah,
against
I did
A&M.
say, yeah, I have said, yeah, he definitely has mental lapses since that game, and
Right.
he was still getting on the field before other guys. So I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's baffling, and like I said, I got to be wondering if some of these games were just thrown. I mean, I would be safe to say it would be safe to say that everybody's predictions were severely off. Nobody had us losing to Georgia Tech. Many had us losing to North Carolina.
Right.
And I think that's our margin. That's our largest margin of defeat. No, North Carolina State was
Was it?
14. Yeah,
Yeah.
North Carolina was 14. North Carolina was, and like I said, I gotta be. I look at that North Carolina result. I look at how that offense looked, and I'm really sitting here scratching my head like, how in a matter of 3 weeks, 4 weeks, do
Right.
you go from scoring 6 points in a game to 45? You went from 6 to 20 to
Now, mind you,
31 to 45 in 4 weeks.
we didn't have any turnovers, so that's
That's fair.
part of it, I guess.
But at the same
Um,
time, do you understand how bad that North Carolina State offense is?
it's terrible. It is terrible. And to quote Mike Loxley, it's like watching paint dry when he was looking at Gaddis's offense, right? It's like watching paint dry. It sucks.
I can almost promise you, if I pull up their stuff right now, there was never a point in the season where Gaddis only mustered 6 points while he was at Maryland. I don't think there's a point in season last year where he mustered. I think our lowest scoring output was that overtime game against Virginia, where Jake was the quarterback, and we still
Yeah.
managed 13.
Hmm.
So I'm baffled, man. I'm really wondering if the I'm really wondering, man, is if the jig is in, and if maybe, like I said, in an attempt to not show your hand, because here's the exciting part, right? The exciting but also still frustrating part. I'm watching underclassmen and true freshmen on defense make plays, and when I watch this team celebrate, I watched it back like 6 times. Like when Pulliam gets that pick, man, those people are going crazy for him. I mean, when
They
when
are.
Cam gets a pick, you get it because it's almost like it's expected. He's an upperclassman. He's a junior. I don't think he's a redshirt. I'm pretty sure he's a true junior. So it's like,
Right.
okay, that's expected. Um, but then you see Pulliam, it's like those dudes are like fired up because he's in there getting plays. You see Popo in there making tackles and just looking in position. Um, and so it's like I'm really wondering if this is like by design. Like, is it something that they just did just to? I don't know, man. I don't know if he did this to kind of sell the
To show
future.
that they got, if it's a recruiting, yeah, yep,
I don't. I'm really
right,
confused. Like I
right.
said, if you're taking it game by game, you're taking it like play by play, it's brilliant. But at the same time, as a fan base, we're frustrated. But once again, man, he's on year two of a 10-year contract. Like he don't got to rush. Like I said, the internal
Well, ask
discussion we already.
Jimbo. Ask
Jimbo is
Jimbo.
a
I
is a
mean,
is a
it's
terrible example of taking that time. Because Jimbo,
that's
cause
what I'm saying.
I pulled his record up and it didn't work. But Jimbo was pulling in classes and getting support from the boosters that wasn't translating to success when the talent was getting significantly better.
Right. And the one
Right
thing that
now,
Mario has over Jimbo is I don't think Mario will ever let a team be as undisciplined as Jimbo did down at A&M. So that will never happen under Mario.
I don't remember seeing it because I was kind of like dual hatting at the time, but well, I might have been driving back from Tampa when the game. No, I was back home. I was back here in Miami by that time, but I'm pretty sure they said that Brashard and Jacoby was suspended the first quarter, or something like that.
For the BC game?
Yeah, someone said they weren't out there for the entire first quarter. Is that true?
Huh, I gotta go look back at that because I thought Jacoby was in there. I could have sworn Jacoby was in there. I didn't
Don
see
said they
Brashard,
Don,
but I could have
yeah, Don
sworn
said they were
Jacoby was
suspended
in
for what they did that last game. Yeah,
there. Oh,
the chat
okay.
saying it's true. So um, even then, that goes to show you that he sat out of the corner and still had 80 yards and a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it's one of those things where it's like the talent is there, man. Like we're gonna touch on that in a second, but yeah, I think it's someone asks like someone asks, what are you saying, Mehdi? Is that Mario letting older players play out? I'm not just let's say saying he's letting older players play out, and I think someone said it too. I forgot who said it, but someone said that uh, Mario is similar to Mark Rick that he believes in playing seniors or the more experienced players over rookies. That could not be further from the truth because that's the case. Why is why is Mark Fletcher starting?
Yeah, I don't think that's the truth. I think Mario is all about his prototype. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's all into the type of guys and the way that it looks when you win. This
Mm-hmm.
is why he brings in the type of alignment he brings in, the runner, as you can see with Mark Fletcher. Um, wants the team to be physical, wants the team to be tough, wants them to be, one of those lunch pail teams. And he's all about the look of the team. And if you're a senior, just like we might hit on some transfer portal stuff. There's dudes who are upperclassmen who you know based on what happened this season may want to consider the transfer portal because you ain't getting drafted. So you might want to consider the transfer portal. So, and once again, if that philosophy was true, where he played upperclassmen, then you know those upperclassmen would have played, even though they are. I'm not saying that they are, but in Mario's system, they're hot dog water. It is what it is.
I would say yeah, out of respect for those people in their process, we are aware of some people who are going to leave in the transfer portal. There will be deflections in transfer portal. Um, let's just be clear. Um, we're hearing some skill positions, some linemen. Um, but once again, we are not at liberty to say all those things, but um, you kind of connect the dots. Just kind of look at playing time, snaps distributed, and you can kind of figure out who is or who isn't going somewhere. So just keep that in mind.
Right.
Um, at the end of the day, um, this is still a team that is I'm not gonna say completely littered with many guys, but there are some that's still here, and even though they've had opportunities to kind of show if they can produce or not, um, some were given a fair chance. and they just never turn the corner. So some of them are
Maybe that's what it
disciplinary,
is.
some of them, yeah. Um, you know, we wish all the best to those guys. You know what I'm saying? Hope their process is fair and equitable. I personally am not the biggest fan of transfer portal, not because it's not a useful tool. I think a lot of it is just that some of those people, their egos are too big, trying to make sense of going somewhere that may not be, like, in their mind. They feel like they should be somewhere else. Like they should go to a D1 school or SEC school. And in some
Right.
cases that does work, but more often than not, like, there's a humility that has to come with, like, hey, I just need an opportunity to go somewhere else. Like I can finish out my undergrad and then go somewhere else as a graduate transfer and be successful. Um, but a lot of times they just want to rush that process and go, yep, I'm going straight to this. I'm trying to go straight to the SEC. I'm trying to go straight to the Big Ten. And it don't necessarily work like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. It don't. So
but
so who do you think we are from a I'm just gonna go with quarterback. If you had to name a guy or two guys that would probably look good in the orange and green, just based on how these last games are shaping up so far, and who's playing in bowl games and who's going to senior bowls, who 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 would be best for Miami in terms of a veteran guy that could provide some leadership, or maybe just filling out the depth that we need at the quarterback position on our roster.
I would like to answer, but first, live from the crib, man. The one and only, especially because it's about quarterbacks. I know offense is a specialty, but we got KB, man. KB, man, what's good? You sound straight? Everything
What's
good?
going on, man?
Yeah, I'm good. How y'all doing today, fellas?
Chilling, man. You know the
Great,
vibes,
great.
man. So you heard the
Yeah.
question?
No, I did not. What was the question?
Quarterback transfers. What's some names that you might be? And sorry if we blindsided you with this one. And then after that, we'll get your thoughts on the. I know you probably 38 hot about that game and how the offense went yesterday. We'll get that after. But first, if you had to go to a quarterback transfer, who would you be interested in seeing next year for you?
Ooh, man. Well, I'm gonna say it like this because y'all know I don't watch college football extensively to know all the names and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to just go by stats because somebody from another team would probably be like, "Man, we need to get that Tyler kid." So I don't want to just go by stats. So knowing guys that I've watched, I need for Connor Weidman to hit the portal. Connor Weidman hit the portal. I'm all in on that one. I just like the way he plays the game. I'm not saying he's better than, say, a Pratt or that other kid that hit the portal. I forgot his name. But I love the way he plays the game. He plays with Mady's favorite word. He plays with a lot of moxie. he plays he plays inspired football. But no, I like the way he runs around. He slings the ball. Throw the pill, man. I like him. So if that guy was to enter the transfer portal, which probably depending on which head coach they hire, he just might. That's who I'm looking at personally.
Somebody posted, I think, something today in a group me about if Ryan Day loses to Michigan, he's probably gonna be open to taking the Texas A&M job. Man, I think at this point, this is my favorite part of the season. One of my favorite parts of the season, um, because man, these people just make shit up, and
Right.
just to see if it sticks. Like, let me just say it and put it out there, and just one of my sources told me, whatever. Anywho, um, yeah, someone said, a couple people said, Pratt. From my understanding, and shout out to the villains in the group me, and I looked it up. Pratt already accepted a Senior Bowl invite, so I don't think you can go
Yeah.
back to school if you
Oh
take
yeah.
a Senior
Okay.
Bowl invite.
Mm.
So yeah, he's pretty much going to
Out
the
of
league.
there.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I really, and maybe I think that came from. It's been a couple interesting conversations this week about transfer quarterbacks. I don't know if y'all saw that. I think I posted about the Wake Forest QB after their former pride and joy came in and slit their throat. And Sam Hartman, they were kind of Notre Dame was kind of gassing them up, and the head coach, was it Clawson? He was basically saying that he didn't feel like he was fair that Notre Dame was taking all the credit for him because like we developed him, we brought him up, we took him on a 1-year rental, and now y'all trying to claim credit for him. You know what I'm saying? The timing was interesting in my opinion, but do you think there's any merit with him saying that?
I think so. You can't take credit for something you didn't develop. You got your mercenary. You don't get points for training the mercenary. I saw the comment, and I think it's valid personally. Rich.
I think so too. Of course, he sounds like a disgruntled boyfriend or girlfriend. The one who's like, I always put gas in your car for you to go to work, and now you with her. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. It's true. And this is why you have to in this era, and I know it's still blindsiding some coaches, so I'm gonna give people, grace, because it's still blindsiding people, man. You always got to be looking at who potentially can be in the portal. So yeah, you got your main one, but you still got to keep your antennas open sometimes, because you don't know when that the one that you got might want to seek greener pastures. So you just got to make sure that you always looking and seeing what's out there.
So I ask y'all this, and then we'll get your thoughts on the game, KB. If Tyler goes to his next school, and let's say those are 3K, 30-0 touchdown interception ratio. It's hypothetical. We're not saying Tyler's leaving. We don't know officially, but let's say hypothetically, he leaves, go to the next school. Would it be fair for Mario or Dawson to come out and say, "Hey, man, we developed him. We made him into that"?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because we also got the worst out of TVD. And he's had 3 different OCs. So which one of them is going to take credit for it? I mean, clearly Gaddis can't take credit for anything. If anything, that's Lashley's fine, but it takes more than 1 year to develop a guy. So I don't think whoever gets the best out of him, if they get that, whatever new team he goes to gets that out of him for a whole year, I think they deserve to get the credit. But that's an interesting question, and I'm going to bring that back around when we analyze the game to show you what I mean.
Okay, so let's just do it now. Give us your thoughts. It's a perfect segue.
Perfect segue. Then let me just go straight to TVD. To me, that was the best I've ever seen TVD without Lashley, and I'll tell you why. And this is the weird part. I saw growth from TVD. And it's kind of like, bro, are you sandbagging? Are you just trying out for the NFL? Because that was weird. And what I mean by that, the best of TVD, it wasn't not his best game as far as we've seen him put up absurd numbers, right? But we saw him yesterday kind of like, how can I say this? He was active. He was controlling the game. Like, he wasn't just allowing what was there to be what he throws. He was moving around, scrambling, finding guys when they recovered. He was just like, he was running the offense. Like, he wasn't just letting things come to him. He was going out and getting it. And I'm just like he was hitting his check downs like that. He was, they look like they don't beat me. I will go on this side again. Let me step up and then step out and let me find the guy. And I'm watching this dude. I'm like, where's this bone detaching from the meat or meat detaching from the skin degenerative condition that they're talking about? Where is this? You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying yesterday. I'm like, that was like real convenient for them to bring that up after he don't got benched. You know what I'm saying? And then we see him yesterday, and it's like, bro, did you got some Novocaine before the game? Like, what did they juice you up with for you to be looking like that? So it just looked like things he should have learned during the season from game to game, or things he probably should have known You know what I'm saying? Just being a quarterback all his life. It's like he finally put it all together yesterday. Yesterday against Beast, and I found out to be so weird. So weird. He looked comfortable. He's finding his check now. I don't know. I don't know what they told him and what they talked to him about or whatever, but that was the TVD that I didn't even know that was in him. I thought he was just a gunslinger. He could throw the ball really well. I didn't know he had that playmaking ability in him, and I was proud of that boy yesterday. But it also, bro, you were sandbagging. Something I don't know, bro. Maybe you're just a slow learner. But I do think I don't know if this is going to be a question later on, but I do think that performance made him draftable again. Not highly, but I think he went from undraftable to, oh man, maybe we can do something with this guy. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with you. I did see improvement, but I still think that there's a lot to be desired because in running an offense, um, the number one thing he did right is not turn the ball over. But BC, it looks like they were playing a zone, and once again, this is BC. This is why their record is where their record is at. But they didn't switch up anything. Like they were in this zone. They didn't think to adjust anything, and they kind of let us pick them apart. I mean, because we never really throw that slant that went for the one that went for a touchdown to Kobe Young. We don't really throw that, but we were able to because of the way the middle of the field was open, and the respect they were giving our receivers and playing back. Also the drags that we were throwing, um, some of that mesh stuff. It's like they're not adjusting. They're kind of keeping their base defense, which is a kind of a zone look. And this is all the scouting that we've done on TVD over the years. We know that if you give him any type of zone uh, defense type of looks, he's gonna carve you up. He's gonna do his thing. The back shoulders. I remember when we were watching, teams like Georgia Tech as well as UNC when we played those games. They knew that those back shoulders to Restrepo were coming, and they were jumping right in front of it. They jumped in front of it with Jacoby George as well. So I think BC didn't study enough tape. I think maybe it was the quarterback controversy where they didn't know who was going to start, and but that's not an excuse. And they just didn't really adjust ever in the game, and it made TVD look like a world beater. And yes, he didn't turn the ball over; he kept the ball safe. But I would have to say that there's more to be desired because on some of those throws, he's literally looking right at the receiver he's going to throw to, and BC was just not adjusting.
But I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was the man he would carve you up in the zone. That's the one he had trouble with all year. Where they were dropping back 8 and all that kind of stuff. But either way, he still was moving. He was creating lanes. That's my thing. He wasn't just sitting back there, pat, pat, pat. He was creating those lanes. So I have to get whatever BC did, for him not to sit back there and pat. To me, I feel like guys weren't like open immediately. So I felt like he was creating a lot of those passing lanes. So I have to give him a lot of credit for that. But at the same time, it's like, sir, what between you and Dawson and what the hell y'all been doing all year? That this is the man. Because you're not gonna tell me whether he's better in man or zone. You're not gonna tell me he hasn't faced both this year, and that no time did he look like that. So go ahead, Mehdi.
That's what I'm saying. I started the show with that. I said I think Margo is trolling dog because he knows he has time. I really do. I think Tyler was retained here as a, what do you call it, like a transitional QB. Because I can't come up with any other reasonable logic about how someone can play so up and down like that throughout the season, how play calling can be changed. I highlight this comment because I don't know if this is true. This might be an opinion. This may be somebody who has inside knowledge, but Malcolm Jones says the coaches asked TVD what they can do to help make him better. He said remove the plays he's not comfortable with. Basically, they dumbed down the playbook. TVD's football IQ is limited. I said it earlier too. I said, KB, all them plays we were calling for that we haven't seen Texas A&M, they suddenly magically popped up yesterday. Isn't that strange? I don't get it, man. Like and so I had to feel like at some point Mario just kind of was like, hey man, this week, whatever. I don't know if there's some, like I said, backdoor internal conversations, but I just can't make sense of it. So my only logical explanation is that Mario's trolling. He never saw TVD as being the guy per se, but he's a good transitional piece. They paid him what they need to for him to carry us through the season. We have improvement, whether the fans want to see it or not. Yeah, there are a lot of games we could have won that we lost, and you can see from the margin of victories because we didn't get blown out in any game. The highest margin of deficit was 14, and that was to the most offensively inept team we faced on the schedule, probably behind Boston College. I would say Miami of Ohio's offense would run circles around North Carolina State. Honestly. And I don't know, man. I can't make sense of it. How, like I said, that Jekyll and Hyde comment that I highlighted was very fair. I don't know if I could do another year of that because it seems like now the fan base. It was only 3 weeks ago. The fan base was like, "Hey, give me Ja'Curry Brown." Now he has one good game or 2 good games.
Oh no, he got to go. he got to go.
I don't care if he throws 100 TDs next year. I really don't care. I'll be like, salute to you, but nah, not here.
He got to go. I'm not doing that. I think 2 reasons he's got to go. The number one reason, sometimes you have to take a person's crutch from them to make them think, and TVD might be a crutch for the coaching staff. I think they like him, and I think they like him a lot. We've actually heard that, you know what I'm saying, from somebody from inside or whatever. So I think they like him, and I'm not saying they should dislike him, but like, bro, you can't have this much faith in the quarterback that has that kind of a stretch, bro. I'm sorry. So they need to take that weapon away from him, away from themselves, so that they can look to other things and do other things. You know what I mean? It's like TVD had to be so horrible to where you decided to let's figure out how we can help him, instead of, like y'all be saying, I'll be complaining after games, but these be the things that I see that are going to be problems later on. So when you win a game but you still notice he's not hitting check downs, or even like yesterday, as much credit as I'm giving him, he missed a lot of touchdowns yesterday because he's still not great at reading defenses or whatever. You correct that before it becomes a problem. You don't wait till the bottom falls out and then it's like, what can we do to help you? No, you see it now. Like, okay, we won the game, but TVD, you almost threw 3 picks and you had 3 open check downs that would have went for 20 yards. You correct that at that time. You know what I'm saying? You don't just keep rolling and, he going to snap out of it, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that's the crutch that he was giving him. So, no, he has to go on. And for the fans or whoever that he just had a good game, yeah, I get it. But it's just like, y'all like girlfriends when your man cheats on you or whatever. You don't call him cheating 3 times, but it's your anniversary and he bought you a car and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, baby, I love you. Bro, y'all was just finna break up 2 weeks ago, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you finna do it again. What you doing? Like, and whatever. But no, you can't just fall in love with the last thing that you saw. So nah, we got to go. Fresh start for everybody, for both us and him.
Hey, shout out to the lack of Florida State and UF fans in here. Maybe it's because they play each other today and they both nervous. One definitely not gonna make the playoff if they lose, and the other one ain't gonna get a bowl game. So I know it's in the comments today. They seem to be missing. If we lose that game yesterday, I'm sure they'd be in here talking cash money shit about how we went 6-6. But maybe they ain't here and they just lurking. But yeah, I hope somehow, some way, both of y'all lose today. That's not even physically possible, but I'm rooting for
they get tied.
And they both lost their starting quarterbacks in the same week. That get back a motherfucker, ain't it?
That's gonna be interesting.
Anywho, this is why I don't troll other fan bases. What else? Okay, so let's get into
Oh wait, let me
um.
finish my thoughts on the game. Let me finish my thoughts on the
Go ahead,
game.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. If you don't
Just to
elaborate,
wrap
that's
it
fine.
up and just to wrap it up and surmise. One of the things we got to look at. We had a good game. The defense, man, the defense is still we missing Leonard Taylor. We have to find that replacement for Taylor. But they settled down and did their thing or whatever. That quarterback BC had, that dude was fast, but we still had him dead to rights. There's a lot of small things we gotta learn, like as individuals. Like Wesley overran way too many plays. Like that
Yes.
one play in the first quarter, the quarterback, I don't know what he was doing, but he's over to the right, and there's three guys coming in on him. All Wesley had to do was keep him to the inside. And Wesley got him to the outside and he runs off for a first down. It's like, dude, that's a sack. Like, what are you doing? So, like, little small things we got to pick up and we got to get better at. I see watching Moulton, he's got to get better. Like, I see why he wasn't like one of the main guys in the rotation. He's a big, wide body, but he's looking like what's his name, Ford and Miller out there. It's like, yeah, you're a big body, but where's
Are you
the
occupy,
not,
Are you effectively
hmm?
occupying space? Are you effectively
Right?
occupying space?
Thank you.
What
Or
you're
you
trying to
just
get at is, yeah,
hmm
when you fill a gap, are you just there, and then eventually they're running back or whoever's in the back is gonna figure out just a way to get around you because you're not actually moving the line, or are you effectively moving the line to disrupt the running attempt, right?
hmm
Contrary probabilities, I know people want DTs to have 15 sacks in a season. Kyle's already talked about it. I'm saying it now. That's just not how DTs work. If they do that, don't get me wrong, that means they're elite. And that means they're playing against some very bad offensive linemen. But for
Yeah.
the most part, they're run stuffers. Your edges are the guys who usually get your sacks because they're bending around an athletic tackle to get to a quarterback on passing situations. Your
Right.
your your running backs on first and second down are supposed to be filling those gaps to get you to a passing down. One hand washes the other, right?
hmm
And so what he's saying is that, yeah, it feels like Moulton wasn't getting on the field because when you hear all those things about quarterback pressures, that's why it's such a stat and why Taylor's having such a great season on paper, because even though on passing downs he's not getting to the quarterback, he's occupying space, he's taking on double teams consistently, and he's moving the pocket back into the quarterback's lap where the quarterback has to is making maybe not great decisions, i.e.,
Yo,
when you have a Cam Kitchens with 5 picks.
speaking of that, did LT play yesterday?
No, he did not.
Ah, okay.
And we'll leave it at that. It's a business decision. So
yeah.
y'all
Let me get
do
to
it.
let me get 305 Kane. What he's saying. He's saying he disagreed. There's no such thing as a perfect quarterback. I'm not asking anybody to be a perfect quarterback at all. I said this, I don't know how many shows ago when we was going back and forth with X. I'm like, bro, we're asking for the bare minimum at that point. Like, we're asking you to hit the check downs. Don't throw interceptions. Like, no, you don't. Y'all got to understand what support is. You don't. Again, I'm gonna go back to that same analogy. Just because you marry somebody, you don't sit there and say, "Well, we married. We gonna go through all the ups and downs together." Now, this man done brought home three outside children, a freaking STD, and y'all mortgage is about to go up in flames. No, man, you need to get up out of there. You don't support something just because you committed to it. It doesn't work that way, bro. Like, no, like I'm sorry. There's a time limit for everything, right? So I'm not gonna just support them putting TVD out there when he's playing like that. No, it's accountability. Because if you go into it with that mindset, then you have to do that for everybody. Then Jacoby George and Brashard Smith don't deserve a suspension if we got to just support the players. They don't deserve a suspension. They need to be out there playing because they can play the game and they're here for us and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not how it's supposed to work. No, you're supposed to bench players. You're supposed to suspend players. Players are supposed to be punished. Players are supposed to be held accountable. So, no, after we've seen what we've seen from TVD, no, that's not fair for you to give him 1,000,001 chances and everybody else gets 1 or 2 chances to screw up and either they lose a job or lose playing time and all that kind of stuff. No, man, we can't do that. But just to continue on with the game, man, it was a lot of positives we saw from that game. And maybe because we haven't had a win, or it feels like we haven't had a win in a long time. We may slightly overhype it, but it was a good game. It was a decently coached game. Won a whole lot I can ask for out of this staff. So it felt good to be in the winning column again. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
See why so stupid.
Chris Young, stupid dog.
Nah, I think that's a fair point. I think that's been the overarching point the entire season. We don't want a perfect quarterback. Nobody's asking for that, and it doesn't exist. What we're asking for is like I highlighted in the comments is someone who's consistent, right? Okay, you get a game, you throw 3 picks, right? Cool. But to go onto a string of that where you're throwing 10 over a 3-game period to 0 touchdowns, 11 to 0 touchdowns, that's insane. That's costing a team wins, right? And that's why I have to kind of like reel it back on my idea of what Mario's doing, because it's like by no means he can't be asking Tyler to go out there and throw 11 picks, right? That can't be a thing. No. Despite that, this school I think they said for the first time in the modern era of football at Miami had 2 800-yard receivers on the same team. 3 guys go over 500. With that dude as your quarterback.
Shout out to Coach Beard.
Yeah,
Shout out to him too.
KB, we need a raise.
That's insane. And if a kid is in high school and can't look at that and say, because I can tell you right now, Mario and KB are going to sell that. It's like, look what we had a guy do for 4 games, 3 games, and we still had a damn 7 yards away, which is ironic because his number is 7 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Another guy 800, and I think he's can't.
How do we not, Maddie? How do we not do that? Do y'all feel some type of way about not getting X's 1,000? Like, you got to know, you got statisticians. Like, how do we not do that, bro?
He said he was trying to get to him, but in the post game, I think he said it just didn't fit with the game plan what they were calling.
By 2 touchdowns.
Mind you, he's been force feeding X over the last 2 games. But the one time you needed, and X is to blame for some of those too, because some of those he was going down a little bit early. Some he was fighting for extra yardage, but he was going down to some of those passing plays. But he said, like in the 4th quarter, someone said it, but at that point the game was already out of reach because Allen broke that runoff. So
right
at that point, it's kind of like, for the betterment of the team.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting my boy his stack, bro. He's finna. This might be his last year.
You don't count the bowl game?
I don't know how that works. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't know but I would have did it in the regular season. I'm sorry.
I think there's been a couple guys who've gotten 1,000 yards in the bowl game. Like I'm pretty sure Mark Walton got 1,000. He crossed 1,000 in the bowl game.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Bowls count.
Bowls count.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, still.
Let me ask you this: y'all want X to come back?
I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say yes. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead, KB.
I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say yes because I mean a weapon is a weapon. We just don't want him to get 17 looks a game, but a weapon is a weapon. I told y'all before. There's a lot of intangible about X on the field that I really love. Namely his blocking, his ability to make a play without having the ball in his hand. That is special, whether we take it for granted or whether we notice it. So yeah, because that doesn't mean that your receiver rotation can't be deepened just because you have these same guys coming back. There still was no reason for us not to get these other guys involved. That's on Dawson and TVD. So I don't feel like him coming back is going to take shine or snaps away from anybody. There's still a way to get Brashard in the game a lot more and get him the ball a lot more. X can be a distraction. So you'll have one-on-ones with Brashard. You just have to do it right. So I'm all about it.
I hear what you're saying, KB. It would be great from a I guess a leadership perspective, but I would almost say no for his perspective, because that was kind of the fear with Cam, right? When you become an All-American your sophomore year, the draft is all about your stock, right? We talked about that like a show ago or 2 shows ago. It's all about your stock. And if you go out there, let's say Cam only had 2 interceptions, and the year before he had 6, what people gonna say? Oh man, this season he dropped off. Maybe he's not what he really is supposed to be. That's gonna cost him money. So I look at it the same way. When you Restrepo, you're a slot receiver, and you have 993 yards catching the football. Where else do you go? Because if you come out and you have 1,200 yards the next year, you don't move up infinitely unless you have 30 touchdowns to go or 24 touchdowns to go with those 1,200 yards. I would say at 993 yards, you got less wear and tear on your body. You're not going to injure. If you go into another college season, you risk injuring yourself and never getting to college, because once again, at his position, at his stature as a receiver, if you go into playing next year and you get hurt, you may fall drastically when it comes to your draft stock. So go while you are you have almost 1,000 yards. You're healthy, which is one of the most important things for your position. And you could add that same value, that same high IQ that X has, onto a professional team where they're going to pay you to do it.
Yeah, but
That's how
the
I see it.
question was the question was, do you want him back? Not about what's good for X. I agree with you 100%. Your point was spot on. The question was, do you want him back?
Man, I'm all for the kids, man. I think they should get their money. That it'll be
Still
hard for
not the
me.
question.
It'll be
That ain't the question,
selfish.
Rich. I'm not gonna let you get away with it. I'm not gonna let you do it. The question is, do you want him back? And it's okay to say no, because I can understand people want
Okay.
Bashard to get
All
in,
right.
and you're gonna get more. I get it. Go ahead.
All right. No. My answer is no, because I
Okay.
think with the talent we got rolling in, we got Brashard and Ray
Okay.
Ray Day up next, man. So go get your
Okay.
money, X. Brashard and Ray Ray got next.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. What about you, Mehdi?
No. And I think it's ironic, man, that the most Miami shit out I think I'll see is X will hit 1,000 and he'll get drafted late. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a size thing. I don't think it's a performance. And I think he'll be somebody who will kill it in the shuttle, who will kill it in short area quickness, and will possibly slip down to a 4 or 5, maybe in a 4 6. And that's what will cut him. But then he'll go out and do a gauntlet drill. He'll run all his drills because I think he gets a combine invite. I'm just being honest.
Mhm.
But he'll end up
I
doing
think
that and
so.
then slip into a day 2, possibly day 3 guy. But that's the part that's baffling because then you have a Charleston Rambo who did the same shit, and TVD only leaned on him. He didn't have another 800-yard receiver on the roster, and he didn't get drafted. So you can't make this stuff up. I don't know how none of that stuff works. Someone asked a question, we'll answer later about somebody's draft grades. I got it started to bring it up later, but I think his resourcefulness is, someone like Bill Belichick, if he is still there next year, he's chopping at the bit for a guy like Xavier Restrepo. So I think someone like
I'm
him will get
telling you.
picked up. I don't know if I've seen him pop up on Shrine Bowl graphics on Twitter. So I don't know if he's gotten an invite. I didn't look into it officially, but I think it's fair to say. Do y'all think he plays the bowl game to get his 1K?
I think he should. I think he does.
I think you
Because
will.
he's the type
I
of
think you
guy
will.
that probably is not. Yeah, he's probably not gonna get hurt because X is a guy that knows how to catch, and he's got that Marvin Harrison in him. He knows how and when to catch and hit the ground. Yeah, and you have to be smart about that, especially as a smaller guy. So he knows how to do that. The way he catches the ball, it's hard to see X getting lit up in any form unless somebody just throws him one across the middle. because he's not afraid to just jump and go get it. You know what I'm saying? But he knows how to catch the ball and hit the ground or get out of harm's way and stuff. So I think he plays in the bowl game. I think he should play in the bowl game.
Right. And I see some people comparing Rambo and X.
That's
I would
because I just
say,
did it.
yeah, and it's in the comment. So I just want to say this. You always got to look at what position that the player projects to play, and X is going to be that super slot guy, right? The Wes Welkers of the world. That's what people are going to look at X and be like, man, maybe I can get Wes Welker out of him. The reason Rambo didn't necessarily pan out, in my opinion, is because Rambo and Jacoby George have the same body type. Now, and Rambo had more yardage, but who had the better season, Rambo or Jacoby George this year?
I
I'm
think
thinking
Rambo.
Jacoby George.
Rambo
I think Rambo.
Rambo on
I think
paper
Rambo.
had a better season, but from an impact standpoint, I think because I think Tyler only leaned on Rambo that season. Like there was like I think somebody shout out to Kane's chief, man, fellow Air Force guy. He pulled up the stats. Like it was a significant difference between him. Like this is when Tyler was a safety blanket quarterback. And mind you, for most of that season, JG was hurt. Like Frank Glatton was your ex. Frank Glatton was your ex. Xavier Restrepo was hurt, and I don't remember who the slot was.
It was Harley was there.
Okay, so Harley was the
Keyshawn
slot.
was there, I think. Harley was
Keyshawn.
there.
Keyshawn was your,
And the weapons were there.
Keyshawn had like 500 that year and made like 3 touchdowns. I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, Rambo had 1K, and then Frank Glatton wasn't even a factor. He might have had 300 and some change.
Was Latson there? I don't think Latson was there.
Latson was the X. Rambo was the Z.
I thought Latson came with Mario. He came with Manny?
He came with Manny.
You're right. You are right.
Oh.
He came with Manny?
You sure? I don't think so.
Latson been here like 3 seasons.
Was it? Has he? Damn.
Maybe I'm tripping.
No, I don't think. I don't think so. I think it was. Yeah. So it was Rambo, Harley. I think Pope and Wiggins was still here. No, they ended up transferring. Pope was still here. He ended up transferring later because they moved him to DB. I don't know if it was last, but I know it was Harley. I know Keontra was still here.
Okay, it was Rambo, Harley, and Smith. Last wasn't here yet. Okay, so Rambo had 1172. Harley had 543. He just caught a lot of passes that year. Keyshawn had 405. Rambo had 7 touchdowns. Harley had 5. Smith had 3. Restrepo had 373 and 2 touchdowns. So basically, it was Rambo and then the rest of them dudes. That's really how the season went. And mind you, Jacoby George was on his team. He had 7 for 183 and a touchdown. I think that was the year he caught that crazy touchdown against Duke. The one he like caught between his legs or pinned on his leg or something like that. Broke a tackle and got off. And that's when I kind of knew. I was like, he might be like that. And then we pretty much neglected him until this year. I stand corrected. I apologize. I thought Latson was here. 2022. Is that what I was thinking about? Yeah, 2022. So last season, Mallory had 538. Kobe Young had 376. Rashard Smith had 308. Latson had 298. We had all those issues.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you even look at the route running. One stat they pulled up yesterday was yards after catch. They're like, Jacoby George's yards after catch was ridiculous yesterday, and he's been doing that all season. Where you can give him a 10-yard out, he takes that thing for 80 yards. We've seen him do that many times. You could throw him a fade, a 15-yard, and he just takes it to the house. So, I think he has less yards, but what he did for the team, especially in those clutch moments where we needed it, like that Florida State game, he has better film. And I would almost even say we heard so much about the Tez Walkers of the world and all these other players. I'm like, Jacoby George is I mean, you can put him right up there with the rest of those guys. I think he's just as good as those guys. I think
I
him
would
staying for another year would do him do him justice.
I would say I would argue that if Restrepo wasn't here, Jacoby's 1,000-yard receiver. And it's not even close.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's the difference. That's the difference in the seasons, right? I do think Rambo had a better season because Rambo was like the undisputed number one. We
Mhm.
still don't know who our number one is. I think it should be Kobe Young. Some people think it should be George. TVD clearly thinks it should be X. So if Rambo was clearly the number one. He couldn't be guarded one-on-one. He was outstanding, but like Rich is pointing out, the difference is the targets. If you give, and that's the thing, George put up these numbers without the targets. His targets were not sufficient for his production. We
Mhm.
saw how many games where he goes off in the first half, and in the second half, they don't double team him. We just stop throwing him the ball. We've seen this numerous games. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think Rambo had the better season, but I think a lot of it had to do with that Rambo was his X that year, and it just so happened Rambo is a number one in college. X is not a number one in college. He's a slot guy, and so he's gonna feed Rambo. Rambo was making incredible catches. Rambo couldn't be guard, all that good stuff, but Jacoby could have that same impact, but more if he's allowed to get the touches. If we're drawing up this, if we're doing this right, it would have
To
been a whole
support,
lot more.
to support your point, Kyle, I guess they counted the bowl game, but in that season, Rambo only caught 5 more passes than X got right now. Rambo caught 79 passes and had 1172.
Oh my
Triple
god.
caught 74 for 993.
Mm-mm-mm.
He's gonna so basically, unless X has a 200 receiving yard game in a bowl game, he won't catch Rambo, and he's gonna have more catches than him. And this supports your point that we've been saying from earlier that impact that those guys have. Whereas if I go back to Jacoby got 851 and he has 19 less catches, but 3 more touchdowns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look
Yep.
at the touchdown to catch ratio, you talking 12,
Oh, yeah.
12 TDs, 13,
I think what if I'm doing the
at
math
least
right?
12.
Correct me, Rich. If I'm doing the math right, that will basically mean for every 100-yard game, and every 100 yards that Jacoby catches a pass, but for every
It's a
100
TD.
yards he has a touchdown.
Yeah.
Basically, he's averaging a touchdown every 100 yards. So
And X would be averaging about a TD every 150 yards.
yeah, and this is a fair point too. I don't think we talked about, for one, some of the elite catches that these guys have made this season. Like, yeah, we might have to pay KB a little bit more in the offseason, especially if they get Jeremiah here. We forgot how often these dudes used to drop passes under other receiver coaches. It's such a far cry now because we don't think about it, but it was insane how many balls these people dropped.
To add to your point, Mehdi, for Jacoby George, it's a touchdown every 106 yards, and for
Mhm.
X it is a touchdown every 198.
I was gonna say that. I figured it was closer to 200 for X. I knew that, bro. I just anyway.
Woo. But that goes back to your point, you segued into KB getting paid more. Either way, these are good problems. These are not bad problems. It's just the efficiency. So it's saying that KB has these guys running routes and doing what they need to do, but of course it's on the OC and the QB to figure out how to make the right reads and who to throw it to at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. James Kane James Kane is saying X is just so reliable. It's also TVD safety blanket. That's the problem. He's not a safety blanket. He's TVD's first look. That's the problem. I'm cool if
Even
you
when
the safety
someone,
blanket.
even when
Go ahead.
someone's wide open, and if I didn't see it in person, I watched it in person in real time, like in that Louisville game, and that might have been the game difference. That it really could have. Like I watched it, and me, like I said, me, Street and Twan looked at each other like, did this man just really miss? Did he really just miss Kobe Young running across the middle, butt naked, wide open?
Mhm.
Did that really just happen? And that's the problem. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with having a safety blanket, right? And I highlight that one comment from Jason Temples. Yeah, third down catch, cool. But at some point, a couple points this year, to include the pick he threw against Florida State to end the game, everybody in the stadium knew where the ball was going on that third and long. The first two plays of that drive, or the first two good receptors of that drive, you went to Kobe Young, who wasn't getting targets all game. So okay, well, it's not predictable. Then you become more predictable, and you throw it on roll out of a clean pocket for one, which makes no sense again to me. Then you throw across your body to the middle of the field, which you don't do as a quarterback, and you throw it to the one person everybody in the stadium know you're going to throw on a third and long situation. All they did was drop coverage. That's the problem.
Now you got me doing math here. So just doing a little glance at the rest of the receivers. Kobe Young has 563 yards and 5 touchdowns. What does that tell you? He's averaging 100 for every 100 yards. He's averaging a touchdown. Rashard Smith has check this out.
We're basically saying the same thing, that if you utilize the people that you're supposed to instead of forcing the one guy, you would have easily gotten more production, and that's just a statistical fact. And that's you throwing the ball.
Bro,
we're gonna put his college degree to work. I just spitball that shit. Like, we're gonna put his college degree to work. And we're telling you that if you just simply used the tools you were around him and used them all effectively, which is insane because he still did it. That's the part that's pissing me off about this, is that with a year like he had, he still did it. He still almost produced 1,000-yard receiver. He still has two 800-yard receivers. He still has 3 500-yard receivers, which was when I highlighted when KB was calling in the offseason for us to bring KB home. When KB was calling for KB, we said that the last time he was here, he consistently produced 3 500-yard receivers in the same season. And that's what a quarterback does.
It would have been more. If you look at like how close the stats are, Rashard Smith, same thing. 2 touchdowns, 263 yards. Isaiah Horton, 1 TD, 114 yards. That's your top 5 lineup. They all average 100 yards, or a little bit over per TD, except you got Restrepo at almost 200 yards per TD. So, I mean, you got to work on that efficiency. I know we try to be well balanced on offense. You got to be well balanced when you got this many good receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
let's
get a Calvin Johnson.
Let's not get stuck here, Matty. Because we could do this TVD stuff. And again, let me say this, y'all, clearly. It's not about TVD. We're not trying to like bash TVD, because everything we're saying, this is up to the coaches. The coaches were supposed to sit down and figure this stuff out as we go. And it's like they didn't. It's just like they just kept waiting for the bottom to drop out. And then it's like desperation. We got to do something different. No, man, you should have saw it coming. And you should have been fixing it. He should have been growing. Like, you don't, yeah, we get it. He's a 4th-year junior, but you don't just let him be the 4th-year junior. He still got to develop. So I just feel like, I don't know if he's a slow developer. I don't know if he just wasn't developing. I don't know what it was, but it just seemed like throughout the year, I don't know if anybody can point out to me progress he made throughout the year up until that last game. I'll tell you, a game or 2 ago, he started hitting check downs, and it was obvious. They went and told him the check downs are there. He's hitting them, but he's hitting them slowly. Yep. He's still looking. Oh, check down. Now the man is covered. Yesterday, it was, this ain't what I like. Check down. This ain't what I like. Check down. It was faster. It was going. It's just like, all year this should have been the progression here. And it happens because we saw it with Derek King, right? Derek King was not as mobile as he was not an RPO guy. So he was doing it was so many times he was supposed to keep the ball and he didn't. But as the season progressed, he admitted himself, like I had to learn to start keeping and he started to do so. Then the RPO got more dangerous with King because he would start keeping the ball. But you saw the progression throughout the year. So this is not just like we're not going to sit here and just talk about everything that TVD is doing wrong. It's a collective. It's TVD and the coaches. They were supposed to get together and make sure he was progressing all year. And I just it didn't happen in my eyes. I don't know if y'all feel different, but it didn't happen in my eyes.
Yeah, we beat this dead horse.
Yeah, we
Quite I do want to take time to highlight the defense, man. Once again, another nasty showing from Guidry. I think it was one of it was such an interesting game to watch because right before the game started, I was talking to somebody and one of my guys was like, "Hey, I think this game is going to be like." What he said, 42-35, Miami. And I said, if Guidry allows 35 points to a team that can't pass the ball, I'll load him up in a cannon myself and blast him to Louisiana. He got to go. Because that's that team is as offensively inept. Like, I gave him the benefit of the doubt for North Carolina State because the offense was just so bad. Right? Every and anything that could have went wrong in that game, it went wrong. And it blows my. I'm talking from missed field goals, special team miscues, you name it, it happened. I don't get it. I will never understand it. But if he allowed, hell, the fact that he allowed 20 is a little bit like baffling in my eyes. But I think one of those was a throwaway touchdown, and one of them was just them getting adjusted to the environment, which was that first drive. But what's your thoughts on the defense?
He did a hell of a job this game. I think there was one game where, of course, we were like, okay, he's letting them bully us around, and that was the Louisville game. We saw that, and then of course he lost his temper during the UNC game. You know what I'm saying? But that's just passion, you know. But other than that, he's done great. I'd say 10 out of 12 games. I can't really. Man, I just hope he stays so that way our defense could really, really get adjusted to what he wants. And to be honest with you, he could get the pieces of the puzzle that he needs. We are desperately hurting at defensive tackle, man. We need DT recruits. We need transfer portal guys. We need more at tackle. We do, and he doesn't have that. So you can't even. We're not. The push that we're getting is because we're blitzing corners and we're blitzing safeties and linebackers. We're not, and so I think once we really get some D tackles in here, who know how to play, who can take up space, I think we're gonna see the defense go to a whole different level, which is crazy because it's already pretty good.
Yeah, one of the benefits that I think from Dawson and Guidry is that they never had P5. Well, I guess technically Dawson did at West Virginia, but he was kind of like maybe more of a passing game coordinator than an actual offensive coordinator. That was more of the dude he used to work with. I forgot the guy's name. The Houston head coach. I forgot. Anywho, but they never really had an opportunity to call it the big stage. So I think they're still learning and developing and realizing, like, okay, I'm at Miami now. I can do all the things I've ever dreamed about, all the type of recruits that I never thought I had a chance to talk to. I can get them here now, right? And so I think that's a huge deal. We haven't talked about the Cedric. I think we kind of touched on it, but the Cedric Bailey thing I think is huge because I think he may be looking at him as maybe another Geno in the making that he can kind of develop.
Yeah,
he has a funky throwing motion that he's gonna have to kind of learn how to either coach out of him or coach around. That's gonna be enough to say, but yeah, Dana Holgorsen.
I say you got to coach around it too because Bailey is legit 6'7", and we've seen in the NFL as well as college where when your quarterback is taller than 6'5", and they try to throw in the prototypical motion because of the way your arm has to wind up to throw that way, you end up overshooting 10 to 15-yard passes all the time. Cam Newton had that issue where coming out with that prototypical motion, you're missing guys who are right in front of you because you're throwing to a 5'9" running back for 10 yards. You're way taller than him, and then you have this big wind up motion. It doesn't necessarily work. So I think I like Bailey's motion because he's adjusting to everybody on the field typically being shorter than him. I could be wrong. I'm not a QB guru. But that's just what I've seen in the past.
I gotta look at some more tape of CJ. The one thing I don't like about CJ, I keep seeing he does have a funky release. I see a lot of his. I saw a lot of. Maybe it was just the tape that I saw. I haven't seen a lot of his complete tape. I saw a lot of his passes be on wide open guys behind the receivers. I saw a lot of guys having to catch back. You know what I'm saying? Instead of them being led and stuff. So I got to look to see if there's more. But I saw too many. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are you scared though? And maybe it's what Rich is talking about. Maybe he's scared to overshoot them. But I saw them reaching back for way too many passes for my liking. But getting back to Guidry, you have to analyze him the same way you analyze the offensive side of the ball. And for me, it's two things about it. Like we're talking about, so like yesterday, the plays were there. The plays being made were not. Like I pointed out, Wesley overran that first play. He overran another. The running back ran like right past him. And we've seen this from Wesley. The game Corey Flagg ended Clemson. That was Wesley. Wesley almost gave that up. Luckily, the Flag was, attentive and understood what was going on. So it's little things like that where Guidry's defense is in place, but guys may make a mistake. Couch running into his guy, or you know what I mean. And those are the things that we look at, and we just look at the defense. But you got to analyze it the same way we say, "Oh, well, Gaddis not doing this and this," but if we freeze the tape, Gaddis got 3 guys open. Same thing with Guidry. We can say Guidry's not doing this and this, but freeze the tape. And the guys are there. The plays are just not being made. The call is there. The plays are not being made. Outside of Louisville, I haven't seen Guidry get whooped all year. UNC to me was more of a roster thing. When they got up and started doing that hurry up, if you could blame Guidry for not changing defenses, that's fine. I'll take that. But I think they were just blowing us off the ball because we don't have the D tackle depth that we need. So that's the thing with Guidry. Guidry has to, y'all got to remember this. I told y'all this before. It's got to be like 80% of those players on defense in the starting lineup were the same guys that were here under Kevin Steele looking like crap. So he's turned those guys in that defense into an elite defense. So we're looking at Guidry without all his pieces, without all his parts. We still need desperately D-tackle depth. I mean, functional D-tackle depth. And we still need an elite corner on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Porter is playing like that, but Porter is a shorter corner. Y'all know how that go. So we still need that dog on the other side, or that number one corner and all that you're gonna be afraid of. So Guidry's out there cooking, and he ain't even got all the right pieces to his gumbo. So look, my hat's off to Guidry, man. That man did an amazing job this year.
I was just thinking about that when I went to this unnamed coffee place because they don't pay us. I think Steele, maybe it's his age, but I think Steele's at a point because when Steele came out, I was so excited, man. I used to go back and watch his We're Their Adversity video when he was at Auburn from a few years back. But I think he got to a point where Guidry's not Steele's not one of those guys who's gonna coach guys up that are less of talent. He's doing what he's doing at Alabama because there's a bunch of 5 stars in that room. And so it's an easier transition because he didn't recruit most of those guys, right? So Guidry is someone who can he's at a place in his life where he can still take your mold, maybe a lesser guy where I don't think Steele can. Like Steele needs a room that got a bunch of demons in it already. And if he has anything less than that, you can see he's going to have some flaws in his coaching philosophy. He's just used to having elite guys, elite defensive tackles, and that's just coaching in the SEC for years. You know what I'm saying? Maybe younger, he could have did that, but I think that's why I think Guidry's such a home run, and why it's imperative that we retain him. It's because Guidry's still young. Is still young enough to go and to go and take a guy and mold him and build him up, maybe the way Steele used to be at Auburn and at other stops, maybe Alabama the first time he was there. But now I don't think he's with. I think he just needs to. He's at a point where he needs to show up with elite caliber defense, and then just maintain that, right? You know what I'm saying? The same thing we blaming Mario for at Oregon, like when Taggart left. No, that's a Dan Lanning, that's a Kevin Steele. You know what I'm saying? Those guys need to have something elite already in the room. Like he showed up with an All-American on the roster.
Yeah.
In a bad defense. Like that shit still blows my mind. Cam Kitchell was a first, not a second, not a third team. He was a first team All-American on a 5-7 defense that lost to Middle Tennessee State.
Right. And Steele is older. So as an older guy, you may not want to put up with certain things that a younger guy who's trying to make his name is putting up with. It's Steele or a guy like Charlie Strong. Because you're like, look at how many NFL guys I got in the league, and you telling me what you're not gonna do or what you can't do? Man, get out of here.
We get a Gidry to show up, and Gidry says the same thing, and sometimes it's messaging, right? People don't understand that. Sometimes coaching is just as simple as messaging. The way I put it, some people can't all be screamed at, and a lot of older people believe in that because these younger people have less coping mechanisms than older generations do. Generation X is X, Generation Millennial. I forgot what the hell the Generation Z. They don't understand.
Millennials.
Yeah, they don't understand how to be spoken to sometimes. So you can't just go in there and blatantly scream at them. Kevin Steele's old enough to be a grandfather, right? So he probably is a grandfather. So him going in there and yelling at James Williams to get your ass down in the box and play linebacker is not going to work for James. Whereas a year later, Lance Gidry comes and says the same shit, and James is flourishing in it.
Oh man, sometimes he's the leading tackler on the team.
Correct, right? And he probably boosted. He probably say that man's draft status from that because another year Steele, and we don't know if James gets what's called. And that pick yesterday, it seemed like they wiped off the board. I wasn't watching the game to fully understand why, but dog, I got chills. And I'm not saying this man is Ed Reed, but to see a guy in Chestnut Hill at Boston College wearing the number 20, take a pick and look like that, he didn't run it back, dog. I got chills. I'm not even gonna hold you. The fact that they called it back is just another testament to why we should leave this hot dog water ass conference. Because these refs are fucking insufferable, right? That's yeah. Took said it, man. James was he looked like he was about to get busy, dog. And I was like, dog, like that. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not saying he's Ed Reed. I'm just saying, man, he did that gave me chills. Like
I missed that play. What happened? He didn't get the pick.
It was a pick. It was not a pick six, but it was a Hail Mary that Castellano was trying to throw in the back of the end zone, and it bounced off somebody. James caught it, and he took off. It was right before the half was about to end, and he was gone. He was moving, and then something they called a flag in the end zone, and they called another flag on the return, and it offset the penalties, and it wiped away the pick.
Sense. Yeah,
it took away the pick.
It made no sense.
It took the pick away. He should have had 3 interceptions yesterday.
Was it a pass interference or something? What was the flag?
I didn't see that part.
Unless it's a pass interference, how do you wipe away the pick? Unless it's a holding or a pass interference, how do you wipe away the pick? That doesn't make sense.
They let the play go on. They didn't call it because he picked it off. He started moving, and then something. But we've seen that happen multiple times this season. The Kiko in the Texas A&M game, the Kiko tackle, right? They had a holding, they had a false start, but they didn't blow the whistle dead. Kiko comes in, smashes Connor Weidman, pause, and
I remember that.
And then somehow they're offsetting penalties, even though the refs didn't blow the play dead.
Somebody said illegal. So it was what? Illegal block in the back and hold what?
Holding
a blindside blocking. How do you take an interception? So they took his interception?
I think he got credit for the interception. I'm not.
No. Oh, okay.
I think he got credit for it.
I'll pull it up.
You can't take an interception for those calls.
I'm gonna pull it up. See, I'm not trolling.
What?
You see right here, Castellano got 2 picks. One was from Moton, and the other one's from Pulliam.
Man,
He
they
should
took
have
the
the interception.
whole thing
Wow.
away for a blindside. Because I remember the blindside on Kiko, which
Pull up James
I
stats.
get it.
Can you pull up James stats?
Yeah.
Because I'm reading the comments and they saying they're talking about if you got credit or not. That's no, you can't take an interception for that. It sounds like something they just did away with because it was going to end the half and they just kind of
Yeah,
whatever.
he
But
got the
there's no
interception.
you.
No, he
If
didn't.
you
Look.
go
Oh,
up,
they gave it to him.
go up again.
No, look. My
Go,
interceptions.
go up again. Go up to the defense where you see James Williams at. So for
That's Chance Williams. He got credit with the pass deflection that led to the pick. He didn't get the interception. They took it away.
and they gave James Williams a pass deflection.
Wow.
What?
Wow. They can, but I think Mario and them can send that in, and so he can get credit for his pick though, even though it don't do nothing for the game.
They ain't giving us a credit for two safeties that they clearly messed up. You think they gonna give him credit for it?
No. That's different. No. That's different. That's a call on the field. But they can, because you can correct stats, and that would be the correct stats. The reason that they're probably not, whatever they decided to do was probably because it was ending the half or whatever. But there's no way that those two penalties, if those are the two penalties, there's no way that wipes away an interception, bro. The only thing that'll wipe away an interception would be if the offense was offsides and we accepted the penalty, or if they were offsides and the play wasn't supposed to be running, something like an illegal motion and we accepted the penalty, or if it was a pass interference or holding. There's no way those penalties could take away an interception. That is weird. That is so weird.
Shout out to Kane Spears. That's a funny ass name. 15-minute review on a penalty and a myriad of Footy references. Trife. Like, I've been saying this for at least the last 6 years that we need to get out this conference.
So was it because the half was almost over? Was that what it was trying to say? Like,
yeah, they'll kind of. I've seen that before. If y'all telling me, because I didn't see the play, I don't know where I was, but if y'all telling me it was like a Hail Mary before half or what, they'll do that. They'll kind of. I've seen that done before. Not them take away a pick, but I'll see them kind of just, whatever. We're going into the half. I don't know how else to explain it, but to take away an actual pick in the maybe the So when the refs got on the mic, did they say there was no interception? Did they I didn't know what they said, because maybe the statisticians just got it wrong. And if so, that's up to Mario to get that corrected.
I'll see if Street has sent us the official stats, but that's per AC, that's per the ESPN. So I would assume that he just didn't get credit for the pick, just because. Like I said, in my opinion, like that's some Miami Hurricanes ass shit to do. Like that. That's no explanation I have.
So Alex is saying, he said they called the holding penalty on that play. Was it after the pick or before? If it's defensive holding, like during the procession of the throw, that's what I mean. That can wipe away the pick.
You can still run that play on offense though.
Oh, so Alex is saying they called holding on the DB. I don't know. Y'all got to let me know. I don't know. I'm seeing too many different things in the chat. Somebody else saying the holding was on BC. No, it would be if it was a holding call before. I'm saying during the possession of the throw. If they called the holding penalty, that's the only way that's the only way you wipe that out. Is if they called the holding penalty before the throw.
It's holding
But if holding is on BC, then
no, he's saying somebody else said the holding was on us. I don't know. I'm asking y'all. Okay, so we got a legal block and they got the holding. So no, that shouldn't have been. That was retarded. Nah, I'm sorry. They got that wrong, but that's up to Mario to get that corrected. Mario and Miami, they can get that corrected.
I don't know, man. It seemed like I said this early in the season. It seemed like they just make shit up when it comes to Miami every year. It seems like there's always some type of penalty where it's like they have to go through these mental gymnastics and something changes every time when it comes to Miami. I watch a lot of other college football teams, and I never seem to see that type of stuff. Like I've seen calls where I've seen it literally be one way, and then I see somebody else do the same exact thing, the same exact way, to include. I saw a game, I think it was Utah or the Utah Utes a couple of seasons ago, and the same way they called pass interference in that national championship game against Miami, I saw a dude do the same exact thing. Jump for a ball, not looking back. The receiver went up for it, dropped it, and there was no call. They didn't call pass interference, anything like that. But for us, it's pass interference. I just feel like for the last 2 decades, it's like if there's a way to make up some shit against us, they just make it up. Like, and we always and it doesn't matter who the coach is. It doesn't matter what the stakes are. It just seems like even in games that's not even worth the season, Miami has been good in 19 out of the 20 seasons we've been in college football, or since we won national championship. And it seems like we just seem to make stuff up when it comes to us, regardless of the implications. And I'm just tired of it, quite frankly. It doesn't make sense.
To be honest with you, when I see it clearly. So if there was a holding on BC and we caught a pick and ran it out, and during the process of running it out, we had an illegal block by Kiko. When you think about it, the first thing that should have been assessed is the holding penalty. If we accept the holding penalty, that means the interception should have been wiped out. Correct. If we decline the holding penalty, that means we should get the interception. So it should count for James. Now, after that happened, you have the block in the back. Well, if I decline the first penalty and I accept the interception, now you could say, okay, you had a block in the back. We're going to move you back 15 yards or however the case may be. But you cannot take away the interception completely.
And that's happened like on 4 different occasions this year, Rich, where something happens before the play and it benefits Miami, and then during whatever happens or after whatever precedes the initial penalty, they offset both penalties. It's happened on 4 different times in 4 different games. That I'm not gonna say is gonna change the ruling, but like, and then that's not even counting the 2 safeties. That's not even counting that. Like, yeah, I mean, you can't make this shit up anymore, man. Like,
so one of the refs was like, "Man, I got lunch waiting in the back. I ain't trying to, reset no chains," because you saw the chains was messed up on the sideline if you was watching on the television. They didn't want to do none of that. They were like, "Man, I got spaghetti and meatballs in the back. I'm trying to get my 20 minutes and have my lunch." Y'all sitting here talking about penalties and everything else. Well, dang, you getting paid, right? You on the job. So it seems like a lack of wanting to be out there.
I don't even think those can offset. That's a change of possession. I don't think those can offset.
They can't.
Like Rich was saying, they can't offset.
The Kiko tackle was a 3rd down. Mind you, it was a 3rd that he hit him clean. It was a false start, but he hit him clean. The ref didn't blow it dead. They called roughing the passer, something like that, after he hit him. And it's like, you didn't blow the whistle. So the player gonna keep playing. What do you mean? They called offsetting penalties and gave them a 1st down. They drove and scored on that. Either got a field goal or drove and scored. Like what are we talking about? And I can't be mad at SEC because that was SEC refs that game.
I mean that is more understandable than some of the other calls. Yeah, you was an idiot for not blowing the whistle, blah blah blah, right? You're dead wrong. But I can accept that being a really, really bad mistake. The other stuff is you just don't know how to do your job. The safeties are bullshit. And yesterday, if that's what happened, if James don't get credit for this pick, y'all are idiots. Because y'all should have been able to call New York and fix that. No, y'all are stupid.
Chat, correct me. Did this man get a fumble? Did he force a fumble and get that wiped off too? James Williams?
Oh, but if they blew the whistle, I understood. That's a fast whistle, but they gave him forward progress. That was a fast whistle. It blew.
The whistle came after, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I thought. The
whistle came after. Right. James held him up. It was only him. It wasn't like the dude could have broke the tackle and kept going. He kept going. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Let's
the
move on.
first
We're not
time
going to
all
do this
season,
ref
in my
shit.
opinion. It's the first time all season that I feel like Cam actually disappeared. I can't remember any noticeable plays that Cam made, and James was popping the fuck off the tape. And everything that James did got wiped away. Everything James did got wiped away.
Yeah, let's move on because we don't have this every game. Let's keep it moving. What's next?
I guess. I just need to get out this conference, dog. Honestly, I really do. I hope everything that they said about the possibility of moving somewhere else. Not saying the referee's gonna get better, but god damn it, man, we gotta go. We gotta go because I feel like this is not gonna stop happening. I think the scary part is as this team gets better, it's gonna happen on games with bigger implications, and that's what terrifies me. When this shit's been happening to us when we've been basically shit for the last 20 years. What happens when you're playing at Clemson in the ACC championship or Florida State or North Carolina to get into the ACC championship and one of those calls comes up? Then what? If you don't start checking these people now, it's just going to become a normality. It already is a normality. And Mario got to take that. He has to take some credit for that shit because with that being said, man, let's get into final grades for just Mario, right? Last year, 5-7. This year, 7-5. Chat, feel free to throw your 2 cents in the comments. If y'all had to give Mario a grade, I'll start with you, Rich. What would you give Mario for year 2 at the University of Miami?
I'm gonna give him a C plus, and the only reason I'm gonna give him a C plus is because of the elite recruiting he's done since he's gotten here. Because there's a lot to be desired when it comes to game management, and there's a lot to be desired when it comes to making a decision that's best for the team overall during a season. So I feel like last year with the whole offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator stuff that we had going on, it seems like Mario never had any answers for it. It was like, I don't know what to do. I know Gaddis is sneaking it up. I don't know he's our guy. And then going into the off season, it's like, I don't know what to do. I know Gaddis won't be retained, but we don't, I don't know if I should fire him or hire him. And I heard a billionaire entrepreneur once say, the number one thing that you have to do when you're running a business is you got to be, especially a new business, when you first come into it, you got to be quick to hire the right talent and quick to fire the wrong talent. And it seems like he kind of struggles with that, kind of struggles with making those decisions. I think he needs to go to a coaching retreat, call up Jimmy Johnson, to get better at doing those things and not have cold feet when it's time for you to step up and do what you got to do. So I'm gonna go with C plus because he is still an elite recruiter, and just from the recruiting that he does, this team is in a great trajectory. And he came in as an O-line guru, got his guy in Coach Mirabal. O-line looks great. D-line, despite not having a DT, we look great on the D-line, and the coaching hires he got correct this year. So. But it's all about the number of wins. So you got to win more. That's number one. That's the first thing in the equation. And the second thing is we still haven't played in significant games. So I don't know how you perform in those games because we haven't been there. So we don't play for ACC championship games. We don't going into Florida State. We're not undefeated, so because of those things, I can't bump you up to that B or A yet. I'm gonna go with a C plus.
I'm not. I know everybody gonna get mad at me, but y'all know I don't really give a damn. I'm not gonna argue with the C grade for him being able to say, you can kind of say he broke even, but I'm giving him a D. Because at the end of the day, you the only reason you don't have an A. Like, you didn't have to reach the playoffs to get an A. You didn't have to go undefeated to get an A. it was so many simple things you could have done to get an A and you didn't. Even in the face of adversity, the fact that you didn't do anything different, I'm giving you a D. Like you did a lot of things good, right? You went and found Gidry. That was amazing. You went and fixed this O line in 1 year. Give you that. You got the right position coaches in here. Although you could have made some of these same hires last year. Got some guys at the portal. You know, recruited. Well, you did some good things, but all that added up to you, bro. You was a game. You a game away from just being 500 or even going under 500 after starting 4-0. You didn't do it. Yeah, like your decision making was terrible, and like you directly cost us the game. Like y'all know me, I was all about, man, with Georgia Tech. Hey, we're not there if it's not for what TVD is doing. But at the end of the day, bruh, you and that goddamn knee, like what the hell was that about? And we kneeled yesterday. That was the first kneel we had, I think, all season. Like that's crazy. So no, I'm not gonna give you a passing grade. I'm not gonna. Well, I mean, I guess a D is passing. I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna give you a positive grade, bro, because the season was yours for the taking. The ACC was yours for the take. Just reach the championship, bro. Like we got Louisville going, and all they did was coach their way into the championship game. We got everything we need. We just need the coaching. So I wasn't expecting you to go undefeated. I wasn't expecting you to make the playoffs. But if you just beat the teams that are in front of you, and let's just say we lost to UNC and Florida State, I would have gave you an A+ for that, bro. Like I really would have. That's all you needed to do was do something more functional. But it was so many things you did to help keep this season from being better than it could have been, bro. I'm not going to give you a C grade. And I understand why people are giving him the C grade because he had a bad season, but at the same time, he injected a lot. The guys don't quit. The guys keep fighting and all that good stuff. But all this good shit you added, like still, you barely made 500 damn near. Like, nah, I can't give you a passing grade. Not a good passing grade. I'm going to give you a D. So, better than
Not
enough.
a D+ at least?
No, hell no. I'm giving you a D. But that's just me. Maddie, shoot.
I'm seriously conflicted with this because I can't, man. I don't know many coaches. Someone said it earlier, and I highlighted it that Mario is stubborn. I do give them that stubborn motherfucker, and only time will tell if that stubbornness is gonna pay off in his benefit. That's why my grade in my head is trending so low. But at the same time, like I said, I this kid, Kyle talked about it last year. He's like, we can go 6-6, we can go 6-7, and I was like, oh shit. I guess because for the Hurricanes, I'm an optimist, especially because, like I said, a proven coach is here and not just some up and coming coordinator that we're hoping gets it right, which I was sick of. Like I was so tired of that shit. It's insane. And between Donald Shalala and Blake James doing that crap year in year out, I really cannot get over that. But what you have when you have a coach who's built something from scratch is someone who has the ability to do it the right way, right? Like he had that time at FIU, had a little less time and found success faster at Oregon. But what in a matter of what 3 seasons, he got them to a conference championship. This year too. The transfer portal is now a factor. It's so many things that he never had to deal with before as a head coach. And so it's hard for me to kind of put things in perspective. So the best thing I go is go with a C. There are reasons why I can defend a B. Some of the staff pickups, Jason Taylor, Harris, KB, Gidry, like to find that in one offseason is remarkable, quite frankly, and find it so quickly, and to find guys who are technically Gidry's supposed to go somewhere else. He's supposed to go to another G5 school. I think he was going to Tulane, if I'm not mistaken.
As a DC?
I believe so. I think we hired him away from Tulane. He was at Marshall, had that elite defense at Marshall. I think he was supposed to go to Tulane, and we hired him away from Tulane. Which, God, good Lord, I don't know what that team would look like then with Pratt on offense and him on defense. And to find that, I mean, obviously, it cost us Shamar, But once again, you want the fast one to right because I'm sure there's a myriad of guys in this culture Rolodex. He could have been like, hey, come be my DC. But he took his time.
Man, that wasn't it, man. That's not what cost us Shamar. It was Kevin Steele with Shamar.
Oh, I remember Shamar saying
Still wasn't there yet. Yeah,
well, I remember hearing Shamar.
That it was that year.
I remember hearing Shamar wasn't. Oh yeah, I'm thinking too far in the past. You're right. But yeah, not having a DC, but just the fact that he was able to get him, bring him, and turn that defense around, I can't overlook that, right? For someone who the chat said it, and I agree, is not an X's and O's guy because Mario's never been a coordinator at any level. He's always been a position coach. I think he did a fantastic job of just finding the right guys. Now, his new battle this offseason is maintaining those guys because they're gonna Dawson maybe not, but Guidry's gonna get calls, right? And he says a lot of the right things in the press conferences, but shit, it's about to be a long couple of weeks, and you got to go out on the road and recruit. While people are calling you, telling you, hey, like, you know, his agent's gonna be fielding calls. He said in that weekly press conference for BC, he ain't got no calls yet. That don't mean it's not gonna happen. Let's be clear, right? Somebody's gonna give his phone a ring, several rings. But I can't overlook that. If you're not someone who's a good X's and O's guy, you better be able to figure out how to put the right X's and O's guys around you, right? And we can see that is not happening because somewhere like USC, for example, where you got Lincoln, who's a great X's and O's guy on the offense, and Grinch is not, but he's rolled with Grinch since Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, and they had to fire his ass midseason. And their defense ain't gonna magically get better this weekend. So none of the people that they hired are gonna get better this weekend. Or fired this week or the last couple of weeks. So I think that's a testament to Mario's ability to scan coaches. Maybe Mario, maybe Dennis, I don't know. But the bottom line is I think he's in a short amount of time with what we called all of us collectively, essentially the fucking Avengers on tape. We just didn't know all those guys were essentially past their prime. I think him correcting it and fixing it and get the right guy in to at least give us a serviceable team. I wouldn't call him serviceable. That's what's so baffling about this shit. Is that TVD was so bad. He was so bad, but he still managed to put up elite caliber type of. And Mario found the right guy to do that. And I that's why I'm sitting at C, solid, not plus, not minus. C, it's hard for me to really just sit there and say like Mario failed. The team did improve by 2 wins. This could possibly be an 8-win team when it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? So, but I understand everything you said, KB. Rich, I understand you too. It's wild if I think about it, man. It's wild to think about. That's all I got.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
It is. It's so weird to think about, especially if this team gets even better next year. This team is a 9-10 win team, which I'm not saying. I'm not hopeful for that. Once again, that's why I do not make season predictions for this reason, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I said 8-4 because I said 9-3. I said 10-2. I said 12-0. Like those people are gonna be quiet now because they don't gotta deal with the accountability. But at the end of the day, I just want this team to improve from 5-7 and look competitive in games. You know what I'm saying? And that happened. Minus, and I would still say we were probably more competitive in UNC than we've been in years past. No, we get blown out by them. We got blown out last year by Florida State. We lost to them by 7. We didn't lose to a fucking D3 school. You know what I'm saying? So
right. It's gonna be fun the upcoming years for sure.
It is if we're successful.
Yeah, when we're in an 8 to 10 game. I think that's the thing. If we, even without the coaching, or the player development, if we just rolled in these top 10 classes every year, we're going to eventually find ourselves being an 8, 9, 10 win team. But not saying that we can't develop, because we certainly can. You got KB on the staff with the wide receivers, and to have 5 receivers that are averaging a touchdown every 100 yards, I think wait till we really hone it in and get guys that are going to be 85 yards every touchdown. That's going to be exciting to see, and that does include quarterback play. I think our trenches, both O line and D line, are we coach well. There's some left to be desired when it comes to the D line recruiting, specifically D tackle. I think our linebackers are doing well. We got the right guy. I think our secondary is doing well. We can add a guy like a DVD back there. Would love to see him come back. Not just for DBs, but also for recruiting. Wide receiver, O line, running backs are doing well. I think with the running backs, we got health issues there. I think if we get guys that have elite burst who can stay healthy, this is why you want to have 3 to 4 backs that are 500 plus, 600 plus yards. I think that would be dope to have. The only position where development is still a question is going to be at that quarterback position. I think we need to have like a bona fide, either some type of QB whisperer who is hands off when it comes to game time, because we don't want to go through the whole Gaddis situation again with Carrot Top. We don't want to do that. But
he's still here.
Yeah, he's still here. I'm not sure what he does, but he's still here. But we want to have a guy who is just solely there to develop QBs, and then for the OC to do his thing. So I think that's the only place where we need a little bit more player development.
And we can get that. We can get that though. I forgot. What was the guy? Oh man, I forgot my guy's name. That's all he does. The guy that Luke brought up. He's out in California, I think, with what's his name out there at USC. I think he's out there. I can't remember his name. But he's from down here, so we can get that, Rich. But sorry to cut you off, bro.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I'm glad to hear that we can. I mean, that we're if we had a guy who consistently developed the quarterbacks that are coming in, who made it their job, kind of like your strength and conditioning coach is not an X's and O's coach, but it is his job to make sure that you have less injuries on your team and you have players always developing their bodies into the best version of themselves. We can get a QB coach who just does that. Whether we win or lose has nothing to do with him. Huh?
I think it's Perkins. Is it Chris Perkins? Oh man, I can't remember his name. I think it's Perkins. Yeah, he's a QB developer. I think. Yeah, I think it's Perkins. I think that's his name.
Shout out to Fighting Lashley. He's like they about to go win the American in year 2.
Well, they qualified. They'll qualify with this win today.
Yeah, they have 28-7 right now in the end of the first quarter.
Big Q, is that it? Is it Perkins? I think Q was answering me. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I think that's who it is. He's a local dude.
Let's get into. So I think me and Rich are kind of in that C grade. Kyle, understandably so, is in that D grade. We get it. Let's look at playoff prediction. Not playoff. You're right. Let's look at bowl predictions. This is the most recent thing I saw, which is interesting. But right now, we are projected to have Mario face his former boss. The guy we talked about earlier, Shiano, projected to play them in the Pinstripe Bowl versus Rutgers, which is usually a ACC Big Ten matchup. So, chat panel, let me know what y'all feel about that. I think that win moved us up a higher tier bowl. And I think the winner of that game yesterday was going to determine who went to that, either the military or the Sun Bowl. So I think us going 7 wins actually moved us up, if I'm not mistaken. But go ahead.
I guess beggars can't be choosers. I would have loved something more sexier than Rutgers. I would have loved an Oregon State or something, but we clearly just didn't do the job enough, right? To where we could get a sexier matchup. I was man, I told y'all at the beginning of the season, my fingers was crossed. Dion, just get 6 wins, dog. I'm telling you, Colorado versus Miami, dog, we will blew numbers out the water over every playoff game except for the national championship. I'm telling y'all, bro, the Dion would have sold that. Y'all know everybody like to see Miami either lose or win. Dog, our numbers would have been crazy. But Rutgers, it's gonna be an interesting game because Shiano is a tough coach. Like his teams generally play tough.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be a hard nose. That's gonna be a fight. I don't know how pretty it's gonna be, but that's gonna be a fighting game. So I guess beggars can't be choosers, and I guess we got to take what we can get. As long as I see Brown in the game, that's all I care about. I'm not gonna even lie to y'all.
So yeah, let me go ahead and highlight that comment because someone brought it up. Where is it?
Oh God, bro, home game in the cold. Ugh.
Man, I want to say honestly, like the way that I look at the bowl game is you're gonna have a lot of people that are draft eligible that are gonna go to the draft, sit out, and that's gonna be on both sides of the ball or both teams. And so you're gonna have a lot of young guys playing. And I don't necessarily want to play one of those trap games like an Oklahoma State or a Utah or something like that where they
I don't want damn parts of
know that
Utah.
they're gonna bring it. Yeah, exactly. You know that they're
I
gonna
don't want
bring
damn
it.
parts of Utah.
I want a
A
game
lot of our
where
fans did.
yeah,
I
nah,
don't want that.
nope.
Mm-mm.
I want a game where you could ease a new quarterback in there, where we could put up some numbers, kind of like this BC game. You feel me? Where it's a you ease a guy in there. We're gonna score a bunch of points. We're gonna feel good going into next season. Kind of like Alabama does stuff like this with their non-conference games, where they just go out there, they beat up on somebody. Sometimes the opponent is formidable, but they never schedule somebody that's going to be a threat to. You'll never see Alabama schedule Oregon on their as a non-conference game. That shit ain't happening. You feel me?
Mm.
So I think we needed that's the type of bowl game I want where it ain't nobody crazy.
I
We
agree.
gonna be fighting for dear life, you know. But somewhere we could cruise, kids can have fun. We get 15 more practices and go out like
Mhm.
that.
Wait, before you
So
go, Medi, before you go, let me counterpoint what Rich just said real quick.
mhm.
The difference is we probably gonna have a lot of kids sitting. I don't think Rutgers is because I don't know how many draft eligible players is probably on Rutgers. You know what I'm saying? So that may be a little tough for us. But go ahead, Medi.
No, I think it's important to point out too. I think it's important to point out too. Maryland plays Rutgers today at 3:30 for one. Y'all want to hear baby Tagovailoa's stats for the
Yes,
year?
Yeah.
yes.
3,016 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 10 picks.
Not bad at all.
It's all
Because
right.
he's a sophomore. That's not bad. He's a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he was a
He's
true
a
freshman
sophomore.
last year.
That's not bad at all,
And
bro.
that's not bad because Bo Nix, his sophomore year was terrible. I think he would
Both
just
of them,
erase that from his memory.
both of them are essentially the Miamis of their conference, 6-5 on the season, 3-5 in conference. That actually makes it very interesting because if that's the case, let's say Rutgers wins. Let's say Maryland wins. Maryland might move up into that projected spot, and we could be facing Josh Gaddis on the opposite sideline in the bowl game.
Could be.
Now that I'd be okay with that. I would like that.
With
I
a
would like that.
statistically way better quarterback than Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see. Wow.
So
I'll
Gamma
take
King asked, does TVD start
go
the
ahead.
bowl game?
I don't think so, and I'm happy that he's not going to start the bowl game because that means he's leaving. Nothing against TVD, but I've had enough. I was going to say though, what if Florida wins today? I think we should be calling, hey, can we play Florida in the bowl game? I would love to do that. But anyway,
Well, I don't think it's not. We don't really get a say. The bowl is called us, and it's based on where you
I know,
finish.
but we can turn it down. We can turn it down and accept. Be like, nah, man, if y'all can't get us Florida, we ain't going.
We played on top of the year anyway, so that's a season opener next year. So we don't know if Napier don't if Napier don't win this game today. He might be. He might have killed for Christmas on his ass. You know what I'm saying?
What we talking about?
Then they're gonna lose. They can't. I don't know if they could do that because then you're gonna probably lose your quarterback if they ain't losing them already.
And I'm here for it. What's
Lagway?
Lagway, whatever. Yeah,
Lagway. I will take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
but
that's why I would like to play them in the bowl game. Beat the hell out of them. Get Billy fired. Hey DJ, what's up, bro?
Little Tua the same as Tyler.
I guess he's saying his numbers. I don't know.
Tyler's not getting get close to 3,000 yards. Am I tripping?
Yeah, he's at 2,700
yards.
Tyler's at 2,700.
And how many
19
picks?
TDs,
12 interceptions.
12 interceptions.
Oh, that is kind of close. The touchdown interception is kind of close.
He's only been sacked 10 times for the year.
Damn. TBD?
TVD, yeah.
Wow. One of those was by Ghost.
More than that. Right? Let's look. Does it show how many times he's been sacked? Tua is sacked 25 times this year.
Damn.
Tied for second most in his career.
More.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, Tua was at Alabama? Or Taulia? Little Tua?
Was it? He transferred from somewhere. Wasn't he? Didn't he transfer from? Was it Ole Miss or something?
No, he was at Alabama in 2019.
Oh, damn. Oh. Okay. Oh.
And this is his 4th year at Maryland.
Really?
Is it?
Yeah.
What is he classified as?
Okay, well.
It says senior.
Oh gosh, my fault. I didn't know that. I was thinking damn, my memory's messed up. I thought he was just getting started. That's what I thought. I thought he was just getting started. My bad.
He's maybe a redshirt junior, but yeah, no, he's a senior.
Oh my gosh. That went quickly. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Is he a true senior?
I would say yes, because no, he's probably 2019. He had that redshirted at Alabama, and then he played I don't know if he came in, but he went 75 for 122 for 1,011 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 picks in 2020. That was a shortened season. 21, 328. He's probably a COVID senior.
Oh yeah, that's what Chulupe just said.
He got 1 year left. Yeah.
Wow.
He got 1 more year left.
That was quick.
Yeah.
And he's had multiple coordinators too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He should have stayed at Bama.
Gaddis is new for him.
Mm-hmm.
He should have stayed at Bama. Shit, he could have took Miro's job. Miro wouldn't have that job. He was still at Bama.
I agree with you.
No, but you can see, man, they didn't like
Maryland.
They didn't like you can tell not that they didn't like him, but they weren't ready to roll with Miro. You know what I'm saying? You see that they benched him and tried to get. That's what I'm saying. If he would have stayed there, he probably would be starting for Bama.
But no one's to say that he was gonna vibe with Reese. Oh yeah, Dan.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
God damn.
Oh man.
No, that's a testament. Because didn't Enos just get fired like a couple weeks ago?
I think you did. Yeah.
Enos got fired.
Where did he get fired at?
Arkansas, I believe.
I think it's Arkansas.
You're right.
So wait, did he get
He's not-
Enos twice?
No.
Because was
I think
Enos at Bama at 19? Enos wasn't at Bama at 19?
He at 19, wasn't he?
When did we get Enos?
Long time ago.
19, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Mullins, no?
so he almost had Enos twice because he got Enos Enos was at Maryland when he got there, right?
That was 20. God damn, I don't even know. These motherfuckers move so goddamn often.
Because Enos was at Maryland, but he wasn't
Enos was
the
at
OC.
Maryland.
He was
Enos-
something else.
Enos was at Maryland. Enos was at he was at Cincinnati, I think, for a little bit. Am I
He
not
went to
mistaken?
Maryland as a position coach. I think he went to Maryland as a running backs coach or something. Am I wrong?
I don't even care. It's so irrelevant. I don't. Yeah.
He was
Oh,
at
I'm not gonna tell
Alabama.
you more.
He was at Alabama in 18. So I think that's why he probably left. Because he went to Alabama at 18. They went 13-0. He went to Miami, and we thought that was a home run because he just came from Alabama. Joke's on us.
Okay. Yeah.
He coached Enos. He coached Big Tua at Alabama. He was the quarterback coach. Go to Miami under Manny Diaz. When they lost 14-0, Manny fired him. When they lost 14-0 to Louisiana Tech, Manny fired him in a bowl game. Goes to Maryland 21 under Mike Locksley.
Okay. You say Enos was the OC at Maryland. I could have sworn
Yeah,
he became a position coach.
Yeah, he was there for 2 years, and then he goes to 23 January. He goes to Arkansas. Gets fired from Arkansas after a year.
As the world turns, right?
He was at Cincinnati. He was in Cincinnati 4 seasons there. He was at North Dakota State, Cincinnati, Central Michigan. That man is, whew, that's rough.
Well traveled.
That's one thing about coach. That's one thing about coaching, though. It's a fraternity, bro. Like as long as you the right type of person, they're gonna recycle you over and over and over again till you can get it right. I always say that about Belichick. Like Belichick was a failure. He just kept getting opportunity, and he took all that experience he got and made something out of it.
You know who wasn't a failure? My dog. That's when he was whooping his ass in the Super Bowls.
Who that? Coughlin?
Tom Coughlin, man. You already know the vibes, man. What you mean?
Coughlin was a failure.
TC.
Coughlin was a failure too. He did the same thing. He learned. Coughlin was a failure. He learned from his mistakes, and he got. Remember, I always bring that up. Coughlin, you and Fred Taylor talks about it all the time. They like he got to Jacksonville. They were like, he had to go, bro.
Was he a coach at Jacksonville, or was he?
Yes, he remember he went to Jacksonville. He went to Jacksonville. He went to Jacksonville twice. Remember the first time he was in Jacksonville with Fred them. After the Giants stint, he went back to Jacksonville as the GM. Yeah. So in Jacksonville, he failed there because of the type of person he was. When he got to the Giants, he almost failed there. Remember they had to have that come to Jesus meeting. Yep. And he just learned, you know what I'm saying? He had to learn. And
delivery, like I said earlier in the stream, delivery. He wasn't relating to players. He was finding people for every goddamn thing that they did. I get that. I understand. Okay. I think you're talking about the second time. The second time, them boys made it damn into the Super Bowl when he was GM, but he wasn't a coach back then.
No. That was the first time. I think he felt bad as the GM. The first time they always made it to the Super Bowl, remember? Because I remember they beat the remember, look, listen. They beat the shit out of the Dolphins in the playoffs, and I never forget that because after that, we went and signed their backup, Jay Fiedler, and that set us back. So, oh my God, I'm not. Anyway, if you're a Dolphin fan, y'all know the pain about that damn story. That Jacksonville, as an expansion team, as an expansion franchise, they almost made it to the Super Bowl, and it crashed and burned because of everything that you're saying. And Fred Taylor talked about that or whatever. And then he ended up with the Giants, almost crashed and burned again. And your boy Pierce, and Pierce brought that up. That's why he's having success in Vegas, like with the team, because he brought that up too. He was like, "Hey, we had to sit down and talk to this man, and we had to figure this out because like we was about to choke him out or whatever. You almost lost the team, and so that's what Pierce is doing over there in with the Raiders. He's relating to the guys. They're gonna play hard for him, and it's gonna take him a matter of time before he get it together. But
Is he
yeah,
hired
these
or is
guys
he
had to
just
learn. I think he's a temp right now. I don't know if he's gonna get hired. We'll see how that works out. So, but yeah, guys, if you just take your lessons and learn and not be stubborn, y'all heard me say this all last year. Saban, Coughlin, Belichick, they had to remove that stubbornness, especially now. Did y'all see the Chad Ochocinco sit down with the pivot?
Nah, when?
You have to
Recently?
watch it. It just, I think, yeah, you have to watch it. He's talking about exactly what we're talking about. They were like, listen, Crowder said it. Y'all know Crowder. Crowder, like, man, it's different now. He's like, man, you can't come in here with that old school mentality. These young boys don't care about none of that. He says, I remember when I came in and then we got Saban. He said, and Jason Taylor and Junior Seau would come into the locker room just yelling. Yeah, 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 yeah. He said, man, I would look at them and be like, who the fuck they talking to? And yeah, he was saying like that old school stuff don't really work like that no more. There's a balance you have to reach. You can't come in and just be a dictator. He's like, especially he said Saban didn't understand when he got to the pros. We were co-workers. You were not, big boss and I was little boy. No, we're co-workers now. We got to figure this out. We're grown men. So he was saying like, and he said that's what McDaniels was trying to do because he come from the Belichick tree. He said he think that's what McDaniels was doing in Vegas, and Pierce said it. Like they had to have a meeting. These guys were about to get into it, and that's why he had to go. And they say so after they won, they were celebrating in the locker room after a win, not because of the W, but because they were no longer under that regimen. These guys were having cigarettes and champagne after the W. It was just so it's a different ball game now. That old Bear Bryant run to you, pass out, and throw up stuff that it's balanced now. You can't just come in here with that mean shit or whatever. So, and I just bring that up because it does kind of relate to Mario. I don't know what kind of guy he is, but you have to, man. It's a different day, man. We got to do something a little bit different. You got to find your balance. So,
I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be a huge point of either contention or admiration for Mario. Like, yeah, how is he with these guys? And we've heard things about the level of accountability and how it's evenly or not evenly distributed. And so I think it's a good transition point, man. And this will be our last portion. We're going to have 2 hours. Who do you guys project or see possibly departing? We got info and insight, so we're going to hold it down on that. But outside of the ones we know for sure is leaving, who can you possibly see leaving?
Are we talking portal or NFL or both?
Either or. Yes,
Okay.
I think there's something that's kind of obvious. I mean, you could kind of speak on those, but
oh man, this is the part of the show that's gonna hurt me.
Let's go by position.
Y'all want to?
yeah.
Okay. Oh God. I think we all can agree Tyler's going right. Brown. Okay, let's say I'm gonna say it like this. Y'all can say how y'all want to say if y'all feel it. If I'm Brown and I'm his family, I'm getting the fuck on. Me personally. But me being KB, I'm sitting here like this. I don't want that young man to leave. I want him to play in the bowl game and give the coaches second thoughts and say, wait a minute, what the fuck? I want them to recognize the Ferrari that you have in the garage and figure out, well, hey, I just need to figure out if I need to put new tires on it, if it needs an engine, is the check engine light on? But you don't know until you take the Ferrari out the garage and drive it. So my fingers are like this with that one. So
Yeah, I'm gonna say it like this with Brown in the quarterback position. The adults in the room are the holders of the opportunity, and for you to hold a gripe against a kid because he said he wanted the red shirt, I think that's poor attitude on your part as the adults in the room. And I say that because if you would have said, you know what, march your behind out there, you playing anyway. You know that you have the authority to do that. So if you have the authority to do that, you also have the authority to not be petty. And for me, I'm of the, and a lot of people are. If I'm his family, yes, we're all like, hey, go where you're gonna be utilized properly. But of course, as a fan, you want him to stay. I hope he does stay. I think um this year will be telling. And if TVD was able to hold his team hostage, maybe you need to have lunch with TVD and map out exactly how he did it and and do the same thing. But you know, I don't want him to go. But
Mhm.
we'll see.
Y'all know me, man. I've been the conductor of the JB train. I've been driving this motherfucker pretty much since season beginning. I truly believe there's an opportunity for him to start this bowl game, and possibly put something um, on tape that does give the coaching staff something to reconsider. I think we've heard it. It's not a secret. He spent most of his season on, with the fourth string linemen and people like that on the backup in the scout team. Emery was getting options before him. Obviously, Emery ain't gonna be back. I think these people got to be on this man's phone this morning, like ask him what is it gonna take, because I think Tyler's out of here, and I think you are down to 3 walk-ons, maybe Ja'Curry and Brashard Smith as your quarterback options against a possibly tough Rutgers team. It's not a recipe for success. So I think Ja'Curry, the type of guy he's in, I don't know. Some of y'all might have seen the images on Twitter yesterday. Some creep on the campus at UM got a picture of Ja'Curry. I'm pretty sure that was Francisco. I think 2 other guys who are possibly considering leaving, sitting down talking with Highsmith. I think excuse me, I'm sick, so. But I think the conversations are being had about what this team could look like, and even if he's not the guy, I think just getting the opportunity to fully have the reins like they gave to Tyler and figure it out, and he might be the guy who's going to lead us to success and the Messiah, or he might just be the guy that was just like, hey man, we might have to put another person there. Either way, I think the type of guy Ja'Curry is, he's a competitor. He's not just going to walk away. I think he's going to, if he's given the fair opportunity to actually progress and get developed, I think he's going to take it. Unfortunately, I think with all that being said, money is going to come up in the conversation, and that's the part that pisses me off. Kyle, Rich, I'm not a fan of NIL for that reason, because there's no guardrails, no guidelines, and now that the family probably feels shafted, they probably understand it now. They're in desperation because you're not getting Emery back, who you clearly favored, and now you can be like, yeah, we need that bag up a little bit, and now you may be, and they might tell you, well, go to hell on, we'll lose the bowl game and figure it out. We won 7 games, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And that's the ugly part about business that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe Ja'Cory's like, hey, I'm here to compete. I don't care about none of that shit. Like, let's go win a bowl game. I hope the latter is the issue and not the first part. But I need to see Ja'Cory. I need to know what he could have been. But that's it.
But before we move off, let me address a comment or two, and I'm gonna say one thing. Brandon Tooks, bro, I don't know where you been, bro. I ain't even seen you in the group me, bro, because he said something about Brown not wanting. Brown didn't. It's not that Brown didn't want to play; he wanted to preserve his red shirt. That's 2 totally separate things. He definitely wanted to play, bro. He's been chomping at the bit the last few weeks. He wanted to preserve his red shirt. That's a whole different thing. You got 4 games to do that, and he can't play it all season. Brandon, we talked about that. We had it.
Yeah, people call out Brown for wanting a red shirt, but they don't call out Dawson, who sat up there and said, I think it was prior to the Clemson game, oh, with the 2 quarterbacks, we don't want to burn either of their red shirts. That's
Correct.
why we got to manage them, right? Well, you did a piss poor job of managing the quarterbacks. You got one with his arm in a sling because it's broken, and you got one that you don't even know what you got because he hadn't been on the field.
Mm-hmm. And for the
Once
record,
again,
he was gonna get in the game. Like we had put in the group me that
for BC, yeah.
yeah, he started warming up when Tyler led one of those last drives, and then the drive that Damari Brown once again got beat by. He got to work on that in the offseason. Brown got beat on that deep. Richard got beat down the field the first play. The next play after that, he throws a fade ball, and Brown gets beat again on a fade ball. Got to work on that this offseason. Once that happened, they told Jaquarii, go ahead and sit back down. We got to put Tyler back in to extend that lead because And so yeah, like it's one of those things where the opportunities are there, but he's not getting them. And I think now that they don't have a choice. They literally do not have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure they're having a conversation about if he wants to stay, but I don't think it's really. I think we may have seen Tyler in a Kings uniform for the last time yesterday.
And a lot of people are like, well, we could just go get a transfer portal quarterback. What y'all got to remember is, in order to acquire a transfer portal quarterback, you either if they're an upperclassman, you're going to be promising game time, so you're going to be promising snaps to a guy. Number one,
or basically being
number
a starter.
two, yeah, or being a starter, and number two, you're gonna have to pay him. Now, if you get an underclassman, now you're gonna pay him for multiple years because they're gonna want a multi-year deal. What if they turn out to be a bust, or what if they walk away to go to another school if they're underclassmen? I like Quinn Ewers with Ohio State. Now it's like sometimes you hit big on transfer portal guys. Sometimes you do not. It's not set in stone. So we brought in a couple guys from UCLA that first year, and one of those linebackers did not pan out at all. This year, we got a lot out of KJ Cloyd, but we can see how that's a year-over-year basis where sometimes a guy's going to pan out, sometimes they're not. So it is what it is.
The funny part is he in the league too.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah,
but
that's the funny part.
For some reason he didn't pan out here.
Oh, Kevin Steele, just say it. Anyway, I forgot what other point I want to make, but let me look into the mic when I say this. And one of the things what Rich is trying to address, you talking about relying on the portal, like there's a lot of things that goes into this, right? The way you treat JB, and then you want to go after a Cedric Bailey, y'all don't think they look at that and they talk about that and they kind of, you know what I'm saying? There's still these stigmas that around that parents have to address and kids have to look at. So you don't look at, damn, why this boy? Like, yeah, no, you're not going to tell these kids a bunch of, not saying that they would do that, but I'm just saying you're not going to sit there and tell these kids a bunch of bad things about Brown as to why he wouldn't play. Like, kids ain't finna buy that. Kids because they're gonna talk to other kids. They know, and I can guarantee you, there's kids on that team that are telling them like, yeah, Brown should be playing. Like we've heard guys from the leadership council wondering why he's not playing, right? But I just want to say this to Brown. Like, bro, no matter what happened, this could have happened at any school, to be honest with you, just because of the type of player you are. Everybody's not ready to grasp what you can do. Like, we still have this stigma out there. So you yourself have to put everything that happened to you behind you and understand that this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity to either A, take this job, or B, perform enough so that my next job is going to be cake. They're saying, hey, bro, come in. We want you to come in. We want you to start. You want to be that guy to be able to negotiate for snaps. So whatever happened to you, even if you feel that, oh, they just only need me because everybody heard, they were, all right, bro, you got to suck that up. You know what I'm saying? We grown now. That's how life is going to treat us. Life has done that to me, Rich, Mehdi, and everybody in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, orange, green, purple, or otherwise. It's happened, and it's going to happen to you. It's probably happening to you now. You, bro, I'm just man to man. You got to swallow that. Put it to the side. It's just like a girl turning you down. All right, she turned me down. I catch the next one, bro. Just go ahead and go out there and do your thing.
I go a step further. The University of Miami currently is your university. It's not Mario's. Mario's, it was his back in 1982, 88, however old he is. He got gray hair. It's not none of the coaches' university anymore. It's not Ed Reed's team. It ain't Ken Dorsey's team. It's your team. So if you look at it that way, you're like, look, these guys show up to practice for me, to block for me. I don't care what the coaches are saying. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna ball out because I'm him. I'm that dude. They could do what did what's his name, Mark Rick, do with Rozier? He told him, you
With
ain't gonna be my
Rozier,
quarterback. Rozier
he
said,
told
yes
that
I
man to
am.
change positions. Yeah.
Rozier said, that's what you think.
Hmm.
So you could do the same thing, and you gotta, your skill set is a huge upside where you just got that belief has to be there. It's your university. Those O linemen show up to block for you. Those receivers show up to run your routes. It's your time. Forget TVD.
Hmm.
Forget Mario. Forget Dawson. They gonna have to. They are going to have to cooperate like coworkers do with you, because this is your stage, not theirs.
Hmm. It's a life lesson, baby. Swallow that pride, swallow that ego, swallow that hurt. You go out there and do what's best for you. Best thing for you is to go out there and kick some ass, bro. It's kind of just that simple, bro. You're gonna always be up against the 8 ball, bro. That's just how life goes. But Medi,
Yeah, hey, shout out to the group me, to the villains, man. uh I just was looking back and then someone dropped a bombshell in there that might make everything we talking about moot. But uh
mm-mm.
you find a villain, man. Uh yeah, make sure you join the group me. Link is in the description. But yeah, it is what it is.
Running backs.
Running backs. Who y'all think is leaving?
Well,
Uh,
Parrish can't leave, so y'all get that out of y'all brains. Um, AJ Allen can't leave, so get that out of your brain.
Well, we saying you can't leave and go to another P5 school.
Yeah, they can't. They can go for the draft, but I don't think either guys, because of the way the running back position is devalued. I don't think it's a smart decision to go to the league. Um, because Parrish is a smaller guy and he doesn't have that top end speed. If he was one or the other, bigger guy or had the top end, man, that boy would be a beast. But um, I love the running back room as it is, and with more guys coming in. I don't know about Cheney staying here because it's kind of like, you see Cheney. Sometimes he's playing and he's playing well, and then the next game it's like no Cheney. That has to be frustrating for a guy that's trying to find his way, and a guy that's a capable starter. Has nothing to do with how good Fletcher is or is going to be. But if we're rotating here, there's no reason I shouldn't be in the rotation. Like different backs may call for different things. Like I think AJ Allen is the closest thing we have to a home run hitter in the rotation. But there's like y'all saw Cheney against Florida State. That boy looked like he had another gear going. And I think
yeah.
that can be frustrating for a guy like him who's on limited time. So I don't know if the move is going to another school, and I just don't know about getting drafted. I don't know with your injury history and the running back position. I don't know. So that may be the one guy in that room I look for. Rich.
No, I agree with you. I think, yeah, you're 100% correct. I think we do for Cheney, because of how special of a talent he was, 5-star coming out of high school. I think you go somewhere to get a 1,000-yard season. It may not be here because of the rotation that we have, and we've had backs do this before. I remember the one back that we had who went to Rice after basically not getting a lot of playing time. He went to Rice, put up 1,500 yards, and got drafted. And I think our running backs didn't even get drafted as high as he did. Um, Most recently, we have homeboy still in the league, play for the Ravens, went to Rutgers.
Gus.
Oh, Gus
Gus.
Edwards.
Yep.
We have Gus the Bus. So yeah,
Yep.
in the only reason he got drafted is because he got on the field and made numbers. And unfortunately, that's the way the draft stock works. And you know, the injuries might be behind Don Chaney. Just continue to rehab, but hopefully he goes somewhere where he could put up numbers.
You know what's crazy, man? I think as I'm watching them literally blow the doors off of Navy and walk their way into a conference championship, I think it's going to be SMU to the U part two this offseason. I think a lot of these guys are about to go slide.
I agree. I
They
agree,
go,
and I'm here for it.
yeah. I think it works, man. You know what I'm saying? His Preston Stone just threw a 28-yard pass to Romello Brinson. I think reuniting Rooster and Chaney into that. What's it called? I think my biggest thing with Chaney and why I think he's leaving, I think it's mental for him. I think Chaney is really watching a younger, healthier version of himself take his snaps. I think that's all it boils down to. He's watching a possibly bigger, because I saw them during they do their blocking drills pregame on the goalpost, the padding on the goalpost, and I saw them standing next to each other. I was like, God damn, man! Like I saw Mark Fletcher in person when we interviewed him for Footballville, but that was without pads and he had like long sleeve shirts on. And then I saw him again, and he is really the biggest running back in that fucking room, man. Like he is insane. Mm-hmm. It shit don't make no sense how big he is as a running back. I ain't never stood next to Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it looked like that Derrick Henry.
But Derrick Henry, 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'3". Might be 6'3", I think.
And it really is baffling how much bigger he is than everybody. Like I would say Chris Johnson and them are as tall as him. He got an inch or two pause on Chaney and Johnson, but he's just physically imposing. And once again, like as Don Chaney being in that room, like yeah, you could see, like you said, Rich, before I stepped off real quick. Florida State, it does look like he has another gear, and that's the same when we complain about Tyler being Jekyll and Hyde. It's kind of the same thing with Don Chaney, because in theory, Don Chaney should have got back healthy and took over that room. He should be one of the leading rushers, and it shouldn't be split between.
But he's only a year out, Mitty. But he's only a year out. He's only a year out after that ACL, after his knee. It takes time. So I think it may be a situation where, remember how like I was talking about LT not giving more, and they were like, y'all remember, he's hurt, whatever. And as the season going, we saw LT get better. You saw that with Chaney. Chaney can produce whether he's starting or the second guy. So I don't think the Fletcher thing has anything to do with it. It's just like, give me a role. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason I shouldn't be playing over Parrish. There's no reason I shouldn't be playing over Allen. And he's went out there and proved that. And I said, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I mentioned that's more of what's going on. It's not that Chaney's just so much. I mean, what's his name? Fletcher is so much bigger, because there's multiple things you need to do as a running back, and sometimes have like the ability to cut back, to be a home run threat, things like that. So I don't think it's necessarily about Fletcher. I think it's about how you utilize Chaney.
Just give me a role.
Position where he could basically, yeah. And what Henry Parrish did yesterday, right? You could do that all season long with a Henry Parrish or a Chaney, right? But you waited until now to do that. Henry Parrish only had 11 carries. You could literally put Parrish in there for 11 carries, 100 yards. Chaney in there, 11 carries, 100 yards. Fletcher in there for 15 carries. AJ Allen in there for 10 carries. And still, but you have to block a certain type of way. You got to call certain type of run plays. And you have to be cognizant of all of the backs in your room. Not necessarily just, damn, we need a running back. That one went down. All right, pull him out. Get that other one in there. Like they're just expendable, right? Because they don't get them to the league when you do that. Look at Georgia. Georgia, when they had Nick Chubb, Sony, and a plethora of other backs. All in backs got to the league, but it's because of how you utilize them.
I would say, like I said, with the talents coming in this room, especially if that flip that we have heard rumblings was going to happen has happened with a particular running back who may or may not be in the playoffs right now. I'll let y'all figure that out. Not to mention a Hellcat and my man from Alabama. That room's getting crowded, man, with a lot of elite caliber talent that you can't necessarily like say. And then you're supposed to be expecting a healthy Trevante Citizen back as well, like who is also. And you can see Mario clearly has a type. Clearly, they ain't necessarily, but he wants to split that room. He's like, I got thunder and lightning, and that's clearly what he's trying to establish in that room through multiple running backs. And so, no offense, but the time for you to have the mental capacity to break down, like we already know, running backs is getting hold in the NFL, and you're starting to see this year. First time I've seen it, I can't think of one team that got a legit like
number
single
one
guy is running back. Yeah, like they're splitting these reps up.
Yeah,
they're these guys are getting 2s and 3s, and the teams that are trying to do that are not successful. So you got to be cognizant of the idea that running back is these guys command too much money because they're having 1,000-yard seasons. Look, I'm a Giants fan. I see it with my guys. Like Saquon Barkley is going through it right now. They didn't pay the man. We paid the wrong goddamn person, that bum from Duke.
yes, you did. That was stupid.
Yes,
And now
did.
we consider getting rid of him. And Saquon is basically trying to keep this team afloat. Why, I don't know, because we need to go get Michael Penix, but it's just not really. It's not really the way we do things anymore. Like, and these running backs command too much money, and with all these quarterbacks learning how to scramble, they're like, well, damn, like I kind of already have a second running back, or something to think about in the backfield. So, the time for you to think that you can just sit here and just heal or get better, yeah, you maybe got a season of that. But after 2-3 seasons, they're gonna be like, yeah, you might have to go find someone else to beat off, because these recruits gonna keep coming in, these transfers gonna keep coming in. Like we trying to win games, like. And so
remember he did try that. He tried that last year, and they talked his ass into staying.
That's fair. Because I don't think because I don't think AJ Allen was on the roster yet. But at the end of the day, I wish nothing but success for Don Chaney. I honestly do. I really hope that he gets an opportunity somewhere else. I hope he gets fully healthy. That's my biggest thing. Outside of the football stuff, right? Because you still got to live. Like when you get a hip and knee injury in 2 seasons, that's not something you just like shake off. Like those are pretty significant, especially for his age. And so he has to get to a point where, yeah, man, he gotta figure it out and go somewhere where he's going to be utilized, and maybe not even
1,000 yards. Yeah.
No, I don't think he doesn't have to do that. I think he just has to go somewhere where he's going to be utilized and put himself in a position where he shows he can pass block. He shows he can rush and have explosive plays, because that's his biggest question mark right now. So I get him. It's like, and then you get baffled because you see games like Florida State, and you're like, God damn.
He's a hell of a pass blocker.
Yeah. It's like Mark. They got Mark Fletcher bottled up, which was crazy to me. I thought he was unstoppable, to be honest with you. And then here comes Don Chaney. Like, no, I got it, dog. Like, and then you know, his vision still needs some work, because I think sometimes he doesn't see those openings where he can plant, cut, and get gone. Sometimes he cuts right back into the defender. All our running backs have except maybe
all
AJ
of
Allen.
our running backs have that issue.
AJ Allen,
except Allen.
Yeah, Allen. All other running backs, they don't seem to know how to plant, cut, hit that hole, and get busy. And so that's one of the biggest things I think he has to work on, is become a better pass blocker, because that's going to be your bread and butter with your size. Learn how to really make the most of those explosive runs and those openings when you get them, and stay healthy. That's probably the main thing, is stay healthy, man. Like little, he's nicked up.
Mehdi, I worry about that with him, because they're going to take advantage of his size and just keep fucking running him. And I get scared of them running him into the ground. He takes some fucking hits, man. I get it that he's big, but a body is a body. All our bones are the same. You know what I'm saying? I worry about that. So I hope they don't kill that young man out there on the field.
And even I would say, well, SMU is a break, but it's not, because they come to our conference next year. So the same defenses that's hitting him now, he's just going to be facing them again with a possibly worse offensive line. So if he does, and we're not saying we don't know if he's going to SMU, we're just saying it makes the most sense. Yeah, you risk the possibility of, I don't know, man.
I say anybody who didn't play in the running back room, because you're really trying to be in college for 3 years. Chaney, Citizen, even Chris, right? Because we talked about body type and what Mario's really looking for. I think all three of them guys, like, if we see one or two of those guys leave, then that's going to be that might happen. Parrish, he doesn't have, if he leaves, he's gonna have to sit out somewhere or go to like a Group of 5 school, 1AA as they used to call it. So I don't think he could even. That's not even in the cards for him.
Yeah, he can't leave unless he's going to pro.
Y'all check this out. Tell me what you notice about the running backs in this room, if y'all can see that.
I gotta wait till it pop on my TV screen. My shit too small on my phone.
5'9", 5'10", 5'10", 5'11", 5'11", 5'10". Chaney shows up as the biggest receiver, the biggest running back in that room if he does go to SMU. That's just a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Because they all recruit the same caliber and style of running back. It looks like smaller, shifty guys. I think Tyler Levine is probably the biggest one. He's a senior though. Other than that, they got a bunch of shifty guys from basically Texas and California, and the only difference is there's Jalen Knighton, and he's basically a starter. So he shows up as the biggest guy, but
he's big and explosive, which would allow him to play in space and that type of offense.
Shot around. We are still live, man.
So we need to cruise through these transfers per position. Wide receiver, man. Let's throw in wide receiver and tight end in the same in the same boat. Once again, guys who didn't get on the field, that's gonna be my first guess. Like, it's no, not saying we have any info. This is off of. I'm thinking, of course, a Skinner. We underutilize the tight ends. Maybe things change in the offseason, but I think for the sake of trying to get to the league, you got to take your talents elsewhere sometimes in order to do that. So, like a Skinner, like Redding, we already know guys who don't have eligibility left, like Frank Ladson. So we might maybe see 2 or 3 receivers. Or in a tight end, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that route. I'm gonna go Skinner. Skinner, Redding. I'm gonna lean on Horton a little bit. Skinner. Skinner, Horton. Yeah, Restrepo should be out of there. Man, I don't know. You could see Brashard. I could see Brashard Smith leaving. I don't know if that's a smart idea or not, but I could see Smith going somewhere where he can be. You could, like, imagine if let's say, so for instance, Lane Kiffin gets on the phone and, hey, Brashard, man, I can do this with you and that with you, whatever. What am I staying here for? You know what I'm saying? So I could see that. So, but I'm gonna go with like 2 or 3 guys, just like y'all.
And Chris Gray's gonna give him the number.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna go to real fast.
Emphasis and defections. I see a situation. I really hope that doesn't happen. I could see a situation where if an agent gets in his ear, we have another kid who makes a poorly informed decision to go to the NFL, and in this day and age, that's more rampant than ever. I think he's done enough, but I don't know. I feel like he can take that shit to another level if he stays here. I want to see Jacoby George stay here, but I think these rogue agents have gotten really good at reaching out to these guys because they're trying to get paid at the end of the day. They don't really give a damn what this dude gets. As long as he gets drafted and makes something and they get their their retainment fee, they don't care.
Yep.
So I can see a situation where he does. I saw Horton play a lot more yesterday, which was encouraging. I would love to see Brashard Smith stay. I really would. But I think there's a lot of frustration that came this season, especially over the last couple games. A 1-game suspension is not how you tell somebody you want them to stay at your school, even though it's fair. But I think one of the largest, like I said, issues that this team deals with is that accountability is not consistent across the
Accountability.
board.
Because you didn't pull TVD out of, you pulled him out of the Florida State game, but it was more so because he couldn't read that defense. So to be honest,
I think Jalil's up out of here, which is sad because I really want to see him progress. I think wherever he goes next, I think they're gonna finesse him into playing receiver. Because he has not developed his blocking at all since he's been here, and he hasn't developed his body to be better equipped to block. So they're gonna probably try to make him a possession receiver. If that's gonna work in his favor or not, I don't know. But we'll see. I think that's the only defector from that tight end room, from being honest. And unless they tell Cam he can't come back to college. And I think that's it. I don't see
O-line on offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
O-line.
We already know Javion's gone.
Mm-hmm. Gotta watch out for Rivers.
Guys haven't played.
You gotta watch out for Rivers though. If he get a good draft grade, he might, bro. That man was excellent this year. But I don't know what his grade is gonna be.
I got. Let me not say that. He's thinking about everything. I'll leave it at that. It's not a foregone conclusion. Matt Lee needs to stay. I think one more year solidifies it. I don't think they even have him as a top 4 center. He might be 4th.
He's a center. Like he's a center. Like centers don't get drafted. Like they're not high. Like bro, you might as well stay. I'm not trying to tell the young man what to do, but I'm just saying, like him staying or going, I don't think it changes any amount of money that he makes in the future. So
yeah,
I don't think so either.
I think there's a lot of
now
backup.
You go from number 4 to number 1, but
I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm not even thinking this. I'm telling you that it's happening. There's a lot of backup linemen who came here that there are true freshmen that have kind of passed him up. So expect that.
Passed up who?
Passed up who? Passed up some guys who may have transferred in who have been on the team.
Oh. Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that like some of the guys we got, Tow Truck, is Sakapulo still here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those guys are probably gonna be gone. One way. Well, no, they can't. They transfer. Shit, they can't go nowhere. Unless they're willing to sit out, go somewhere else and sit out. McCoy will be here still. I don't think it's gonna be that much change from now. I agree with what you guys said. It'll be some guys that are a little bit older that haven't played. I think they're gonna see, okay, writing's on the wall, I'm out of here. So
yeah. So now
Sean Brown said he's a grad transfer.
Oh, okay, grad transfer. Okay.
What about D-line? We need people to come in at D-line, not go.
LT is out of this thing.
Go get your money down.
Yeah, I think he that was a respect my decision from like 3 games ago. Who else?
Liechtenstein is graduating, I believe.
Yeah. Chance Williams done.
Chance.
Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Chance. That boy actually made a play, man. I saw it. I was like,
I like Chance too.
I do too, man. I don't know. He just never really turned the corner here. And he was a highly rated guy. He was a solid 4-star. I'm pretty sure coming out of high school. So
yeah, he was good as a freshman. Just didn't turn the corner.
Who else?
Well, Jay, that's what I'm. He's got another year, right?
I believe so. I don't think he's leaving.
Okay.
Branson Dean's out of eligibility. Branson Dean got to go. I'm pretty sure Branson Dean was a grad transfer.
What about Gore? Thomas Gore?
Gore is also out of eligibility. He's a grad transfer.
Okay. Yeah, so we probably just gonna lose LT. We need guys coming in like badly.
Yeah,
So I think it's
that
really just
that is critical. Like that is by far one of the most crucial positions. We need guys to step up as well. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the other Horton in that room. Shout out to we saw Moten flash yesterday.
Moten.
He just needs to get stronger and better in position.
Achimpong, we gotta get.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. Jason Taylor and I don't know if he's gonna be here next year, but with Joe, y'all better figure it out, dog. That is mission critical. That is code red. Like that room got to get real better, real fast.
Yeah, they got to bring some guys in. They did a good job with development, but they got to get some guys in.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Someone said Harvey gone. I think Harvey will fuck around and get drafted and pick him as an undrafted free agent.
He'll get drafted, man.
I think he opened up his stock, and this is why I love Guidry for. He opened up his ability by becoming that jack linebacker. So now I said this from the beginning of the year, a 3-14. You see, yesterday he almost had a pick. Y'all forget, as a defensive lineman against North Carolina, he has a pick 6. It's GBs on his team who we can't get to do something like that. And that's before he was as a jack linebacker. He did that as a stand-up handed dirt DN. It kind of depends on the defense he was playing in that year. Like
he's out of eligibility?
Yeah, he's done.
Oh. I don't know about him getting drafted, guys. I'm gonna say it. I think he's gonna get an invite. No matter what. Drafted? I don't know. I think because
he's gonna make a roster too. I think he's gonna make a 50-man roster.
He might, but it's just that he started off so hot, and then he does.
Yeah, he fell off a cliff. I ain't gonna hold you. But yesterday he started showing flashes again. And I think he just got passed up by Bain, man, because you couldn't keep Bain off the field.
Oh, that's the one. Mesidor. That's the question.
Mesidor's coming back.
Don't know.
Mesidor's coming back, in my opinion.
He could get himself drafted though, Maddie, just like this. Like not a high draft pick, obviously.
He could, but this isn't like where it's a COVID year, like a Jalen Phillips and a Rousseau, where you could sit out a year, and this is different now. Like, there's no reason to not have production, and not saying he didn't, but he's basically 2 years removed from football, or a year removed from football.
A year.
I think he needs to put something else on tape, because with the amount of defensive line talent coming in year in, year out, I think they want to see what he has to prove, and if he still has that same and I think next year him alongside a Bain as well as shout out to Rich, him alongside a dog name, man, a Kelly. Him alongside a Kelly, alongside a Bain, man, that could be a vibe, man.
But that's also a reason he could leave, because he doesn't like playing inside. He's an outside guy. And with Kelly and Bain, I don't know if you disrupt that. I don't know how that works out. So that's why I say he could leave. And he has film. Y'all got to remember, was it last year? He was graded as like the 3rd best DN or something like that. So Mesidor has what he need on tape to get drafted. It's just not going to be high. You know what I'm saying? So it could be, and he keeps getting hurt. So like somebody can get in his ear and say like, bro, you're going to stay here and risk getting hurt again. So I think it's one that we really need to watch more than we think that we need. That's all I'm saying, is that I think more than we think, we probably should watch that and see how that plays out. But I'm hoping he comes back personally.
Yeah, I do too. I think Cyrus Moss, I think they discussed having him switch positions. But I think he's done.
I think he's out of there. Yeah, that sucks too.
I think Jason Taylor really tried a whole lot to kind of paint him as himself when he was in college. But I just think that I think there's people in his ear that are drowning out what whatever Jason Taylor's trying to do for him. And so I think that's gonna take more precedence over whatever he's trying to get done. I think he's gonna end up leaving. Do I think he should? No. I think he has an opportunity to maybe play himself up. But I ain't gonna hold you. If I was in that room and I saw one Ruben Bain show up and significantly get more playing time than me and just be better, he's tied for the league on a team with 7.5 sacks with Francis Mauigoa. I don't know if I would have stayed either. Just being honest.
I will say this. He got to recognize though, Mehdi, is they're not going to play him at end. He's going to be a linebacker. So I'm not going to look at Bain. So that's what you're saying. He's got to listen to the right people, the right persons. Somebody can come along and point that out. Cause we trying to put you at linebacker. You're not going to be doing what Bain is doing. If anything, you might be doing what Harvey is doing. You get what I'm saying? So somebody he just has to listen to the right people. I felt that him getting that deal with Kane Connection a few weeks ago shows you, bro, they do want you here. And they do believe that you're going to be here. Because Kane Connection don't just throw out money to anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is 100% in my opinion. You just got to listen to the right people first. I think personally.
Real quick, Rich, before I get your thoughts on Moss. Shout out to y'all, man. We got 142 in here right now, 138 likes. We appreciate y'all. I think we got up like 150 something, but we appreciate
Good job, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Y'all didn't have to do that. You could be watching college football, but if you ain't playing, some of y'all don't watch football anyway, so you're here with us, and we appreciate that. So thank you. But go ahead, Moss.
Nothing on Moss. Y'all 100% correct. That whatever he wants to do is what he wants to do. Move on. Let's go to linebackers. Let's go to linebackers and secondary, so we can wrap it up.
Yeah, Sean asked up Chase Smith. I think that's probably $1 million question. We all know he got hurt. I want to say close to the end of last season. Was out. He's played in games. And I want to see Chase Smith because I think there's just so much untapped potential that we could possibly see. But, man, that linebacker room got a lot better. I feel, just watching that Boston College game, I'm ecstatic about the future of that linebacker room.
Yes, sir.
I think that's like the first layer of the cake. That's not even – I think they're going to stack on top of that. I think Noah comes back. But Chase Smith,
should he come back?
Should
Kiko come back?
Absolutely. I think it's his grades. Figure out your grades first. If your grade don't say first or second round, you bring your butt on back.
There are better linebackers in the ACC statistically. I don't think any of them have the sack numbers he has. I don't think any of them leading their teams in sacks.
Right.
Or tied for the lead. He is a smart, instinctual linebacker, and I think we won. Like, I'm usually not big on package deals, but that's one that we goddamn won with the Mauigoa.
This man has 7.5 sacks.
Yeah, he's tied with Ruben Bain for the team lead.
Yeah.
I never thought that was a package deal, yo. I never thought that was a package deal.
I think it didn't start out as that. I think it eventually did. I think his brother got frustrated in his recruiting process. I think he liked what Mario was saying. And so I think it kind of evolved into a package deal. But regardless, I think he's – maybe it's the selfishness in me. I want to see another year of Kiko just because I like how he leads that unit. I can't remember since Quarterman, we haven't had that type of leadership on a linebacker. I mean, you have Corey Flagg, but he's physically limited. So bringing him
I don't think he got eligibility anyway. I don't think Flagg got eligibility.
I'm not even talking. Yeah, we ain't even talk about him in that aspect. I'm simply talking about in the room having that caliber of leadership in that room we haven't seen since Shaq Quarterman. And Shaq Quarterman was a 3-year starter here. Right. He came in 1 year and immediately turned that room around along with D. Nick. I don't know if there's a guy out of those true freshmen yet that has that, and I don't know if Wesley has that yet. I think Wesley is a great plug and play, like Kyle says, see ball, get ball type linebacker, whereas Mauigoa is instinctual and smart and intelligent playing the game. I don't know if we got a person in that room like that yet. It might be Marcellus Pulliam. It might be Popo.
It might be Chase Smith.
Know yet. Might be, but I don't know if he's 100%. You know what I'm saying?
It's probably going to be Bobby. But I don't think we lose anybody in the linebacker room outside of guys that are graduating. Because like
I
I
want
say,
to.
I don't know what kind of grade Kiko's going to get, but I don't think anybody goes outside of graduation. Like Ryan Ragone, Corey Flagg. I don't think anybody leaves personally.
I
Nah,
think Ryan's out of here.
I
I
think
think
Rigoni
Who?
is he's done. He's out of
I saw
eligibility.
him on senior day.
No, that's what I said. No, that's what I said. I said outside of the guys
Oh,
that are
okay,
graduating,
okay.
Ragone and Flag, nobody leaves. My
Yeah,
personal
Corey
opinion,
Flag
because
is
I
we
want
yeah.
play a lot of linebackers.
I
I
say
want
bring
Kiko to leave. I think KJ Cloyd is probably leaving too because he's a senior.
yeah, he's out of
Yeah,
eligibility too.
he's out of there.
Yeah. So, but I gotta say, man, let's go back to the Bobby Washington conversation. I think so. So when you look at Basaint is a plug and play guy. Is Basaint a wizard like in terms of football IQ guy that's going to get some of those dirty plays that Kiko gets? No, but I would say out of those, you got your Basaint on one side, but then I think you can mold Chase Smith into that type of instinctual guy who's going to run your defense for the next 2 years. But on that other side, I like Pulliam. I like Popo. I think as far as becoming a first round super like a monster, I think you got that with Bobby Washington because of his speed, man. You cannot coach that. He has an upside you can't coach at the linebacker position. I don't think it's going to be next year. I think he's going to play the same role that Wesley Basaint did this year, next year. I think his junior year, you're going to see a guy that becomes like a first, second round draft pick at linebacker just
I
because
just
of intangibles.
I just want to see Alpha take over the room, preferably a Mike linebacker because of where they're positioned at. But in some of this we play sometimes 3-3 stack, 3-5 stack. Sometimes we play 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers. It just depends on the looks. I just need somebody to be an alpha in that room, and it can't be Corey Flagg. I would love to see Corey Flagg get picked up as a grad transfer here. You know what I'm saying? Not grad transfer, grad assistant. You know what I'm saying? Get hired on by the staff because I think he has a lot of mental intangibles that would help that room. I don't know if he has because I don't think he's getting drafted. I don't think he's even getting an undrafted free agent opportunity. And I don't see any reason for him to transfer. I think he loves the U. I really do. So I think Mario and D Nick should give him opportunity to at least try his hands coaching. He's the son of a coach. I think he'd be a fantastic D coordinator in the future. I am forever indebted because that man made the play that beat Clemson. Sorry, Rich. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's all good.
and we ain't beat them in 10 years. So, and I think y'all not putting enough emphasis on that. Like, Wesley, shout out to Don Snap. I do think that too. Wesley's under pressure because the people behind him, they not better than him yet, but they damn sure working their way to be. And if Wesley don't figure it out, Wesley got to get instinctual, get his ass in that playbook and learn defense. Because if he don't, he will fuck around and get passed up. And he is way too athletic to be getting passed up by. Yeah. Like if a Cyrus Moss gets passed up, it is what it is. Because Cyrus Moss don't got the physicality or the size, right? You get passed up by a Bain, it is what it is. If Wesley get passed up, you have the physicality and the size. You are shaped and built like a prototypical linebacker. If you let one of them guys pass you up.
Well, I think that's the problem. Those guys can match him physically. Those guys can match him athletically. Bobby's faster, and I think people tend to look over how good Popo is athletically. Popo plays linebacker like a safety. That boy covers like a safety. Popo is gonna be scary. We talking about Bobby being the first rounder or whatever. I think you're gonna have 2 of them. Bobby and Popo are gonna be like, that's just gonna be like some Bermuda Triangle type shit again, man. So Wesley has to watch out. He really does. He's got to get it here because this is what's gonna separate those guys is who has it here. And I think Popo is a leader. And again, same thing with Chase Smith. He's got it. He's got the physicality. He's got the speed and all that stuff. So the guys that get it here first are gonna be. It's gonna be whose job it is. So,
Yeah,
but again,
them knee injuries are always because I think it comes with a unspoken mental mental weight that you're kind of wondering if you. I think well he showed me the play. Street did, but yeah, I think it was he got rolled up on or something like that during his injury. And so I think you kind of always keep in the back of your mind, will that happen to me again? And is it all over, right? We're looking at Jordan Travis, and we had the conversation not even a week ago if Jordan Travis will ever play football again, right? Not if he's just out for the season. We're talking about from a knee and leg injury, will he ever play football again? And so I think that's a reality of a lot of these guys that they start thinking about that. And like with the Don Chains, with the Chase Smith, like, damn, like, is there going to be a chance that this could happen again? Or one wrong move and I get rolled up on, or a guy lands on my knee and that's it. But once again, like I said, he's prototypical size, right? Big guy, can do it. Like, you got to figure it out. Some people ask about Malik Bryant. Y'all got to understand Malik Bryant played in the defense that had him as a stand-up rush in, and he's transitioning the linebacker. That's why you don't see him really getting the game at all in those garbage time minutes against Boston College, because he's still learning. I think he's going to be – he has instincts as well as a rush DN, but he's essentially the same as Jafari Harvey playing that jack.
Yeah.
He has to learn how to play and sideline to sideline linebacker and watch the quarterback and play in space, because he was in a system where he just plays, he lines up and stands up, but he has to go, I got to go get the quarterback. And so
I think Malik Bryant, the reason I didn't mention him is because he's his upside is very similar to an LT upside. I think he's about 6'3". He's already 240 pounds. He's already an NFL prototypical linebacker. I think if he has a basic season, he goes in the league, right? If he has a 40 tackle season for 2 years straight, he goes in the league. Like, people are salivating on that body size and that frame. So that's why I didn't put emphasis on him, because he could literally have a regular average season and still get just based on what they look at for draft stock and all that. So it's just, and if where he becomes a top 15, top 20 NFL draft pick is just like Mehdi said, put it up here, and he becomes that. So that's why I didn't mention him. Not that he's not as good as any of those other guys. It's just more so what they project to be.
Mm-hmm. Let's get to these DBs so we can close on that.
Yeah. We already know the inevitable, what I'm saying? Cam and James is probably gone.
Out of there.
Yeah, it just makes sense for them.
Couch gone.
They're probably.
Yeah, Couch is graduating.
He's out of eligibility.
What about Brown?
I think Brown had eligibility. Big Brown had eligibility left, but I don't know if his little brother passed him up. His little brother already passed him up. So I don't.
Porter's been great this season.
The what?
Yeah. So that's the guy we got to look out for. What if Porter leaves? You know what
Porter's
I mean?
leaving. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Porter's leaving.
You think so?
Yep. I don't think he dressed yesterday. Jaden Davis.
Well, remember he got hurt.
I know, but his injury wasn't as his injury was significant, but not as significant as for as long as he's been sitting out. I think that's a simple business decision as well. Respect my decision. I'll holler at y'all. I think he has way too much to gain in the league. Yeah, I think he has way too much to gain in the league. I don't think he's a first round corner, but he's definitely day 2, day 3.
Only because of height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he can actually possibly, if he grades out well, he runs a solid 40, balls down the ball skills and shows a good vertical. He can definitely move into a legit day 2, because I don't think corners are that strong this year. Think about it. We had Tyreek become a second round grade draft pick, and is balling right now. That motherfucker forced 2 turnovers in their last game. They lost, which is insane to me. But he forced 2 turnovers, a fumble recovery on playing special teams, and he had a pick. Well, he forced a fumble and had a pick in the game. and he was a second rounder, and he wasn't even that great here. I would argue, say he got overshadowed in a lot of those times by Cam Kitchens.
Well, I mean, if we saying that about Porter, why wouldn't the older Brown leave too? Because the older Brown is legit 6'1", 6'2". I mean,
for one, I think it's
we even go where? We even go where? Hell no.
He didn't have the season that Porter had. He didn't have the season Porter had. But he has the body size.
He does, but goddamn, he was getting killed. This film is too bad this year. Maybe if somebody's gonna cling to his UCF film, but if they saw what he did against, because they're gonna automatically say, okay, against better competition, you were a pass interference machine.
Yep.
So that's gonna hurt.
Even if I don't agree,
you're right, though, Rick,
a lot of them wasn't. A lot of those things wasn't PI. Let's be clear. But they was getting called for him, and that's what they're gonna bring up on film, right? And so, I don't know. I don't know.
But Don made a good point. We saw Porter getting hurt last year out there. You know what I'm saying? Porter was getting picked on and hurt last year, and he stayed, worked with a die for a year, got a new defense, and boom. So we know it's in Brown. Brown can cover some, so maybe he stays and works hard. And I'm always about veterans staying and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully he stays and gets better, because that was not what we were expecting.
And for the record, I don't want Brown to leave. I was actually excited when he got here, because I really do.
Me too.
I really do think that he has prototypical. I think he can be great. What I'm more concerned with, if I'm being completely honest with you, is if the DB coach is leaving.
Yes.
Because if he leaves, if Adai leaves,
that's a problem.
That is a problem.
We'll save that for another show, bro.
Yep. I want him to move on to greener pastures, and we will say that for another show. I'll put that in my mental notes. But at the same time, like, we are in trouble if he gets a DC job somewhere else. I don't think he goes somewhere else for a better DB job, but man, that's between him and Guidry, I am terrified. But
I see a great name in the chat. Y'all see it?
Markeith. Oh, we talking about
he played yesterday.
You think he goes? He played yesterday.
Markeith played yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, he got in the game. He was celebrating when Buddy got that pick. He was playing safety.
Okay.
I think that the plan is for him. I think the plan is for him and Jaden Harris to be the new version of Cam and James. I personally think there's a lot to be desired. I think you go get a portal guy personally, and I would argue I think Zaquan is probably challenging for some minutes. I think he's challenging for some snaps.
I'm gonna say this: if Markeith shouldn't leave, I say that because those spots are wide open, bro. And if you think you that good, you shouldn't leave, because those spots are right there. It's up to you to take them, bro. If you can't take these, you ain't gonna take them nowhere else.
You've been in system, so if you watch, a true freshman show up and take your snaps in your second year in the system, that speaks more about you than anything else.
You than anything else, yep.
Because it should be glove in hand fit. You know what I'm saying?
To speak of that real quick, I'm gonna just say additions real quick. Zaquan, I'd like to also see that kid over at in Daytona Mainland. It'd be great if we can get that kid. I think those two guys will play immediately if they came to Miami.
I wouldn't want them to play immediately, just the intricacies of the defense. Like, we hear about James getting beat because he's the one setting everybody up, right? I don't know if you want that from a true freshman. I wouldn't be mad at a safety transfer or two who maybe has some familiarity. There are other guys in that room too.
Yes, there is.
I just need to see one of them step up and fill the void. Not, like I said, not taking anything away from Jaden Harris, but when Jaden was on the field, it was, to me, and this is me as a DB, I felt like there was a drop off in the caliber of Xavier Minty. I think there was a drop off in the caliber of safety play when Cam wasn't in the game for those 2 games. That's me. Some
listen,
people was
we
like,
get
"Yo,
Williams
he
as
did a
Cam
great
behind.
job." Some people say he
Somebody
did a great
said-
job, and he was he filled in so
Yeah.
great, da da da. And hey, shout out to y'all. I just feel like when Cam's in the game, like it's just a different. You can see like there were certain passes where if Cam was in the game, I saw one pass. I can't remember what school that was specifically, but if Cam was in the game, it was a pass that went up and it was on the sideline, and he almost picked it off. But if Cam's in the game, he picks that pass off. But
Yeah, Jalen Harris is definitely gonna play a lot. Patterson, I will say this, and they are better tacklers than Cam, but I think Cam is a unbelievably willing tackler, and I think he's the reincarnation of Ed Reed that we've been waiting, and because every time we get a safety at Miami, we're like, "Ooh, how is he Sean Taylor? Is he Ed Reed?" We always say that, and I think Cam having 11 INTs in 2 years, yeah, you're watching a guy who's probably going to be an All-American again. Have we ever had a 2-time All-American?
no, because all the Americans we ever had never came back to school. He's the only one in Kane's history to come back to school. They all go to the league.
Right. So
Well, he couldn't
that's
go.
yeah, that's rare. So even the guys who are behind him now, it's like you can't fault them for being behind him because he's a 2-time All-American. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. If he's not taken in the first round, I don't care if he don't do nothing at pro day. He could sit out in street clothes. If you don't take this man in the first round, you crazy.
If he went to any other school, they call him a generational talent doing that.
I can't believe y'all kind of critiquing Cam's tackling, bro. That man is a solid fucking tackler. Like everybody have mess ups and stuff. But I'm looking at the chat. I'm like, yeah, we have mess ups and things like that, but that man is solid as a tackler, bro. That man has made some as a freshman. That man has made some game ending and game saving tackles. So, but anyway,
I always say this with safeties.
Sean runs. He bought a Richards. I think Richards needs to stay. I think he needs to develop. He's supposed to be the outside corner. He's supposed to be the outside corner. And he should, in theory, because he's doing it now, he should take over for Porter's spot. But he needs a lot of work this offseason. God damn. Sometimes he makes great plays, and sometimes he is lost in coverage. I guess they're getting beat, but he's just lost. Like, he don't know where the ball is at in the air. He's not looking back for it. And the receivers, who I think he is a better corner than, is catching these passes. Like, it's inexcusable. He needs some development.
Now, I always say this too, like when you have your safeties and your DBs who are leading tacklers on your team, that sometimes is a problem. James Williams is the leading tackler with 73. Cam Kinchins has 59 total 59 total tackles. He's number 3 behind Maiwagoa, who has 70. That always leaves much to be desired on the front end. So sometimes if you do see Cam miss a tackle or is blown, he blows coverage, think about what he's doing on that front end to stop runs. So you can't have it two ways. You feel me? Like you're not going to have a guy who's a ball hawking safety and is going to have 60 tackles on the season. Like usually it's one or the other. We got a guy who's playing his hand on both sides of the spectrum. So if he does get lax on the coverage, think of how long he's out there and think of what he's doing for the defense.
I think that's everybody, though.
Yeah,
that's it.
And if we miss them, they'll pop up, and we're gonna have a couple other shows leading up and bowl practices and all that. We're not completely done with the season, y'all. they'll have off-season talk, and coaches hopefully don't leave. But there's possibly some of them may. We talked about one in particular, or two in particular. But that being said, man, KB, you got anything else, man, before we get up out of here?
Nah, that's it, man. We'll finish out. The season ain't done yet, so we'll finish out the season. What, another week or two? We got more. We got a lot more to give y'all.
Real quick, Andy asked, Don asked about Andy Borregales. You think he comes back?
He's a kicker. Go for what? Like, you might as well bring your ass on back.
Did he graduate? He graduated?
I don't remember seeing him.
I think he's a junior, right? Yeah.
He's a junior.
Yeah. The last thing
he got here the same year as his brother. He was here for his brother's senior year, right? So I think he's a redshirt junior. Yeah, I think they were here at the same time. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think they were.
Now let me say this before we get out of here. I just want to say thank y'all. And that was a hell of a percentage Mehdi brought up with y'all hitting the likes. You know what I'm saying? Compared to what's in the chat, man. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all helping us grow. And the show was long today, but the show get long like this when y'all get active and stuff. So we don't be meaning to keep y'all, but when y'all get active, y'all make us active. So we just want to say thank y'all for being so active and being so into the show and keep us going and everything, man. So shout out to the villains. And if you're not a villain, you need to become one. If you won, don't be like Brandon Tooks and just showing up every other month. Come on, come into the Discord, get all your information. Yeah, I called you out, Brandon. I had to do it. But nah, for real. Y'all give us a lot of ideas and stuff for the show, man. So we appreciate y'all, man. So shout out to y'all for the whole season.
Yes, sir.
What you got, Rich?
That's it. This is the closeout show. Not necessarily on forever, like we're closing down. But this was the last regular season show. So definitely this one's gonna be a little bit longer. A lot of topics to cover. Recruiting is almost as big as the season typically. So you're always going to have a lot of talks about guys leaving, guys coming in with the transfer portal, NIL money. So we look forward to covering that stuff in the off season. We look forward to our bowl game and, covering things regarding the practices. Of course, Streeter, he was out on the road, getting footage for that last game, doing his thing. And also X, shout out to him. He's going to be holding y'all down, of course, when all of us down when it comes to recruiting and what we got going on. We got a big recruiting off season. So we got some big names that are out there that are still on the table. It's flip season. So we're going to see how things shake up. The lemon pepper steppers are going to be in full effect. So look forward to see what goes on there.
Real quick spot question for both of y'all. Rich, go first. Mario, first season you said C. What was his grade in season 1?
Looking back at it now, his grade in season 1 was a D-.
Okay, KB, you gave him a D. What was his grade in year 1?
He got an F from me. He got an F. That coaching staff was a mess. A lot of things, and I understood. He just gets an F because that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to shake it up and whatever. Because whatever it was, the season was crap. Just that simple.
I would say the same thing. He was an F. I've thought about F plus, but some of those, like, you can't lose Middle Tennessee State and get an F anything like
right.
That's an F, like straight up and down. So we say that to say year 1 and year 2 is pretty consistent across the board. There has been improvement, and so we working on it. Like I said, I think my biggest thing take away from this year, the team didn't quit at all. Every game they were in it for the most part. Just depending on which side of the ball decide not to lay an egg. And we saw noticeable improvement from talent acquisition, working the portal, all that. And so I expect it to be better. So with that being said, year 3, you should have mostly your recruits and some transfer portal guys. We're expecting most of the Manny guys to not be here anymore, whether it's to draft or just finding a better opportunity elsewhere. It would be hard for us not to have higher expectations, right? Especially if we win this bowl game where you set the standard now. That means you'll be on a 2-game win streak heading into the next season and a chance to beat another SEC team, which I think is worse. significantly worse than Texas A&M talent-wise. So you set that bar, Mario. So you got to progress. You can't take a step back in year 3 because the fan base is finna eat your ass alive. You know what I'm saying? You can't have an 8-4 season. And I hate to do this because I really don't like doing that to any coach, but year 3 is when it really has to start taking a turn for the better. But we had 3 hours and 30 minutes. We appreciate all y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. That's it. We about this thing.
Peace.